Found about a potential SEC East team that closed strong last year, maybe getting some information from Michigan to help defeat an opponent down the stretch of last year. So far on my outrage meter, I'm not even at a 1.
That's good.
But if it gets to they were cherry picking, they were, let's help this one to try to mow a potential field and help themselves, then I think that would definitely be a new layer on it.
Yeah, it sure would.
I don't know that raises my outrage level to anything above maybe about a 2, but I think it will definitely get a lot of attention over the weekend on the various pregame shows, and it's only building. I mean, it is becoming a major scandal. Mm-hmm. Now, it's already being reported that TCU, they were aware of it in college football circles. Look, the worst secrets in the world are in the college football circles because everybody's worked everywhere. The cross-pollination effect is alive and well in college sports, and it's everybody's business to think they know everybody else's business, whether they really do or not. We all think we do. I've jokingly said, Ole Miss is just as guilty of it as anyone. If you want to know anything about Ole Miss, ask Mississippi State Twitter. If you want to know anything that's going on in Starkville, ask Ole Miss Twitter. I mean, we're all experts on the other one. But TCU got wind of it, and they played the old rope-a-dope with them. They changed signals. They had dummy signalers. They had dummy key men, and it had Michigan confused. I don't think that was the only reason TCU won that game. Michigan didn't play very well that day, and TCU did with a Herculean quarterback performance that day and a really good coach. I don't think TCU is saying, because we foiled their plots why we won, but it didn't hurt, and it's how look, this is how you can do it. If you're suspecting this, as so many in the Big Ten claim now they have been for years, would change your dang signals.
Yeah. No, that's a great point of if TCU, who is not a conference mate, not anything, they just played them in the playoffs, if they knew about that last year, how do these Big Ten teams not know about it? It's the laziness of not wanting to change their signals.
Well, it's selective knowing.
Exactly.
We've known forever of a deep foreboding scandal at Michigan with mean old Jim Harbaugh, and then Shazam! I didn't know anything going on.
Yeah.
Well, did you know or did you not know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I think a lot of these programs knew and didn't want to change anything or do anything, and they didn't think much about it. But now that Michigan is so good, and enough of them have kind of rallied together to say, "Oh no, Michigan, look at them, they're cheating, they're taking all our signs." So I mean, the more and more information that comes out, it does look worse for Michigan. But I'm still kind of with you. It still hasn't reached a level for me that I think it's a huge deal.
Here's your big Pulitzer Prize winner for all the .comers and all the sports guys out there, and for a lot of the college football commentariat that would love the big takedown story on anything and anybody, but especially to get the Michigan scalp up on your wall. That would be a big one for a lot of them, and that's how a lot of them are motivated. I don't get that. I understand the news, understand reporting, understand that the public has a right to know, but that zeal to take somebody down, I don't get that. But if you want this part of the story, here's a good one. This jumps you up in front of the selection committee for Pulitzer. Who's the person? Who's the group that funded the independent report?
That's a good question. I think you brought that up yesterday, and when you said that, I said that's a really good idea. Nobody's talking about that.
Even rumors out there, it might have been Michigan people because they were suspecting it, and they didn't want to be embarrassed by Harbaugh. There's reports out there that it might have been inspired by Ward Manuel.
You're kidding.
Yep.
Now that would make this whole story, I mean, that just give it a whole nother level of interest.
That takes, I don't know if it takes outrage up, but it takes interest way up, doesn't it?
Exactly. The outrage is probably doesn't affect that at all. But the interest level, if it's your own people, oh yeah, it goes way up.
Well, it'd be the sports equivalent if somebody had found out or reported it. They probably knew that one presidential candidate was writing the Steele dossier on the other one in 2016 that led to special counsel, led to Pulitzer Prize winning stories that it was Russia inspired.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be that would be. I haven't heard that, but now is it bad that I'm kind of like rooting for it to come out that it's Michigan that launched the
not bad, not bad, because we didn't crack open the seal.
That's true.
I mean, the seal got broken, and now we're going to watch where it goes. The dam broke, so we watch where the runaway water goes now.
That's right. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting. But
I didn't break the dam.
No, I didn't.
And I
either.
didn't break the bridge a few years ago either on the new bridge.
Are you sure?
No, I did not.
All right.
But it was a major headache.
It was. But no, it's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on this. And you're right. I mean, tomorrow morning, game day, big noon. It's all gonna be talked about.
Who treats it bigger?
Tomorrow.
High hard one. Who treats it bigger? Game day or big noon? Big noon really kind of more that league.
Yeah, I would say college game day because of that, but.
And Pete Thamel's been out in front on this.
Yes, but, I mean, it was the Big Ten that they were the ones that kind of stepped in front of this and kind of made it the story. So, I mean.
And the way the leagues are working, since that is kind of their arm, an extension of them, Big Noon, it really is.
Yeah.
What if they're feeding, the better story to them?
Interesting. That's a good question. I think. If I had to just guess, I'd probably say game day. We'll talk more about it. But you're right. Big Noon might have better information about it. I'm certain Big Noon has better information.
And I also want to see which one either legitimately or faux outrage exercised over it. Now, and it puts Desmond Howard in a really tricky spot.
Sure does.
Having to sit up there and proselytize about his beloved, Michigan. Over on Big Noon, it puts Urban Meyer up there where he can just take a big old swing at the pinata.
That's right. I mean, it's all for everyone.
He was saying about Ohio State.
Yeah.
Last week,
yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be fun to keep an eye on in the morning. It might get to a point where one of the shows talks about it so much that I, just can't listen to it anymore.
Back channel,
back channel,
the back button. And that's the biggest thing for me. Okay, it needs to be discussed.
Certainly,
it's a big story, but let's get to the football.
Yes. I mean, you don't got to spend the
good
entire.
Good segue for us to get to the football, or
right.
at least to the Grizzlies tonight.
That's right. One of the two. I mean, which do you want to get to?
Grizzlies tonight in all-important game, too. Not quite the festivities that is associated with opening night, but still a big game with the world champs in town.
Yeah, no, it should be a fun one, and an early game tonight, like I mentioned in the open, 6 p.m. tonight for the Grizzlies. And you mentioned it yesterday. This isn't obviously not a national television game, not anything. It's just they're trying out the 6 o'clock and something we're not super familiar with unless it's one of those national televised games. But it's going to be an early one. I'm I'm eager, I guess I should say, maybe not excited, to see kind of what that crowd looks like around tip-off, those first couple of minutes into the court. Because it's, like you said, world champs. I mean, these are the big boys coming in. But again,
this
6
is one that you want to be in your seat for when the ball goes up in there.
But 6 o'clock
and that's really, and we know that's really 6:10.
Right.
But still, in a very late arriving town to everything.
Yes.
Baseball, football, basketball, anything. We are. I don't get that. I love to get there early and be settled in. Huh?
I said we like to be fashionably late. Well, what can we say?
Yeah, I like to be infashionably prompt.
I like that. And you are prompt. You no matter where you're going, Brett, you're there very early to say the least. You make sure you get in there. But no, it should be interesting, and we'll see what the crowd looks like. But on the floor, it's going to be challenging for the Grizzlies. Down another man from what they had opening night. Luke Kennard is in concussion protocol, and so he won't play tonight. So that gives you down a score. He wasn't great, wasn't very good at all while he was playing Wednesday night. But I think you would like to have him out there and kind of give you that shooting opportunity. But down another man, and you're going to need people to step up, and you're really going to need Jaren to step up. Not a great game from him on Wednesday. Hopefully we can see a better Jaren in a massive game against this Denver front court that we know is so good.
And just a great opportunity to put Wednesday night behind the Grizzlies, and with a win over Denver, 1-1 after playing New Orleans and Denver, I think most would be okay with that.
And then, am I right? I don't have the schedule pulled up right in front of me, but immediately turn around tomorrow night and play Washington, right?
Washington on Sunday.
On Sunday. Okay, cool. So on Sunday.
I think that's right. No, you're right. It's Washington tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. So I mean, that's a quick turnaround, and maybe that's another reason why they wanted the game at 6:00. You get it done, and you can go ahead and get working to get to Washington, because that's a 6 p.m. tip off tomorrow night in D.C. So I mean, it's going to be a very, very quick turnaround.
No, now tomorrow night is in Washington, but I'm seeing 7:00.
You're seeing 7? I'm seeing on ESPN 6
Eastern.
o'clock. So yeah, Eastern.
But on the schedule I got from the Grizzlies, it says 7:00 Eastern time, and then local. Does that mean local Memphis or local Washington?
I guess local Washington, right?
But it says 7 and 7.
It must be local Washington. That's weird.
But it's tomorrow night in Washington.
It's tomorrow night in Washington. It's either at 6 or 7, I guess. I don't know. Whatever time you flip on the game, if it's on, it's on, I guess. But
now I'm going to my ESPN app to see exactly what it is.
ESPN says it's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that little weird paper is all. That's confusing, Brad. I'm gonna give you that one. That's confusing. Why have it in Eastern if you're gonna have the local? I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's very very confusing.
We'll keep up with it all, though.
We'll keep up with it all. So a quick turnaround. 6 p.m. tonight for the Grizzlies against the Nuggets. 6 p.m. tomorrow night in D.C. against the Wizards. So that's probably another reason why they're going at 6 o'clock tonight against the Nuggets. Denver right now a 5.5 point favorite on the road against our Grizzlies.
Okay, well, with big Nikola Jokic and the cast mates that make up the champions, I can understand that, especially after seeing the first night of action for Memphis.
Absolutely, understandably so. How much of the NFL game were you able to catch last night?
I didn't watch.
I guess you didn't watch any of it, but you listened to it.
Listened to some, to a lot, but certainly not most, but some to a lot.
Sure, yeah. I mean, close game down the stretch. Buffalo held scoreless in that fourth quarter.
Can't blame it on Baker Mayfield.
No, he was good. 237, 2 touchdowns, 25 for 42, only sacked 3 times. On the other side, Josh Allen, I thought, looked good as well. 31 for 40, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns and an INT. Also ran for a touchdown.
And found his tight end.
Sure
I talked about that yesterday.
You did. Found his tight end, Dalton Kincaid, 5 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. So
he's a banger, isn't he?
He is. They've got 2 really good tight ends on their roster. Obviously, one of them injured in Dawson Knox. But it feels good, I'm sure, when you're Josh Allen and you can go, okay, Dawson Knox is out. All right, Dalton Kincaid's in, and you can immediately kind of start working him into the rotation. And of course, Stephon Diggs. 9 receptions, led the team. We knew he was going to get his catches, and he certainly did. But only 70 yards for him. Not a massive game for Stephon Diggs either. But Tampa Bay had an opportunity at the very end of the game, threw up a Hail Mary, and in the end zone, a couple guys fall, and Godwin didn't really look up, and it just came. I don't even think it hit anybody. It just fell straight to the turf, and Buffalo they run out with a win.
Do you enjoy Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit?
I do. Good. It was a little weird at first hearing Herbstreit on an NFL game, but they're good. They're both obviously great at what they do, and I think they're really good together. And so I've enjoyed it. I have no qualms about it at all. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from CBS Sports Digital, also the executive producer of The Early Edge, will join us. We'll talk some wagering with him. We'll get his thoughts on some college football and some NFL games for this weekend. At 3:45, we'll get back into the Grizzlies versus Nuggets conversation tonight at 6 p.m. down at FedEx Forum. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net will join us. We'll talk some more wagering with him, more college football, more NFL. We'll also have to get his thoughts and pick for the World Series as that starts tonight on Fox. 4:30, we'll get into the SEC talk, what the weekend looks like in the SEC. We'll also have to talk about the Tigers versus North Texas tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Gary Darby from the Grizzlies Network, Ole Miss Radio Network, and the host of the Rebel Yell Hotline will join us. We'll talk a ton of Grizzlies with Gary Darby as they kicked off their season on Wednesday and are playing again tonight. But we'll also get into some Ole Miss talk as the Rebels will face off against Vanderbilt this week. And we'll do that at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The Overstock sale is going on right now, and Family Leisure needs your help to clear out their overstock inventory. Select patio sets up to 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas, and the winter pool closing items are up to 30% off. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off their in-stock items. They've also got the saunas, massage chairs, arcades, and theater seating with all free delivery. And the special financing is still available, but it's only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us as well, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. 901-360-8255 to text or call. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com, the one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all remaining 2023 models and the 2024 starting to take over. Always special leasing options at Lexus of Memphis. Call them at 901-334-9673. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 or the 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the Tigers back in action tomorrow afternoon against North Texas. On the road against North Texas, and about a 7.5-point favor on the road the Tigers are. We're going to make our picks later during Friday football forecast, so I won't tell you what I think against the spread, but I do think the Tigers have a great opportunity on the road against North Texas. North Texas comes into this game 3-4, while the Tigers are 5-2. But this offense for North Texas has been really impressive. They average about 470 yards per game, and their quarterback, Chandler Rogers, has thrown for 1,762 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So the offense looks really, really impressive, but it's the defense that has held this team back all season long. They're allowing 457.7 yards per game, and on the ground, about 255 yards against the rush they're allowing, and that's the worst in all of college football. So Blake Watson, Sutton Smith, I think very big games for them. And this team, when I talk about offense being really good, defense kind of struggling, kind of reminds me of UAB last week. And we saw the start the offense got off to last year. It was the defense missing tackles. I'm thinking maybe you can put that second half we saw against UAB into the first half, and it could be a really, really fun day for the Memphis Tigers.
Run. The Tigers with a big rushing day ahead of them tomorrow in Denton, Texas. My top story, is this the weekend for blockbusters in college football? Bill Bender said it with us yesterday. We've really had 0 blockbuster weekends. We've had very few upsets this year. It's been a great college football year, but it's been rather predictable.
Yeah.
Wake at home tomorrow against FSU. Does one happen there? KU over OU, Florida over Georgia in the cocktail party, BYU in Austin against Texas. Last time Taysom Hill went in there for BYU, they put it on the horns. Is there a chance for Stanford at home over Washington tomorrow? Wisconsin at home over Ohio State, Vandy and Oxford against Ole Miss. Anything, anywhere. We're due a stunning weekend in college football, and maybe this weekend will be it. But so far, it's just been pretty predictable.
Not top story of the day.
I hope we get one of those Saturdays this weekend.
I'll take it.
That'd be a lot of fun. My not top story of the day, I'm going to stick local, and I'm going to stick with the Tigers, because while the football team is in action tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, the basketball team will be in action Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock as they kick off their season with an exhibition game against Lane College. Now, we're not going to learn a ton about this team in an exhibition against Lane, but it will be fun to see these guys in action. When you look at this roster, it is a ton of new faces, but a ton of experienced faces. So guys that have played for a handful of years at other schools now coming and joining the Tigers, along with other guys who did the same. So it'll be fun to see what they look like as a team. You know, we've talked the past couple of days about that kind of one-ball mentality. What's going to happen when you roll it out there? And maybe Jaquan Walton, who was taking a lot of shots for Wichita State, scoring a bunch for Wichita State last year, maybe he's not getting as many shots. What happens if Jordan Brown isn't getting as much playing time as he thought he would get as the starting center? There's going to be a lot of questions, and that's all up and down the roster. That's not just those two players. So I'm curious to see how they play together. I'm curious to see what kind of lineups we see Penny Hardaway roll out there in these two exhibition games, but we'll get to see for ourselves Sunday afternoon.
My not top story, only 5 SEC games tomorrow. A lot of open dates, 10 teams playing, all 5 conference games tomorrow. But maybe the biggest one will be South Carolina at A&M. Jimbo just can't take much more. He'll be getting a big severance check whenever he's paid off at A&M, and he'll be fine. But that's not how he wants to go out. That's not how he wants it to end. But if he were to lose to South Carolina, and I don't see how he could, with that patchwork offensive line South Carolina is going to have in play. In fact, I think A&M blasts South Carolina tomorrow. But he can't take much more, whether it's against South Carolina at home tomorrow or next week in Oxford. He's got about one more loss at A&M before I think they really start thinking about, okay, here's your check. We got to start over again at A&M.
Ooh, it feels like it's starting to get close, and depending on what happens this weekend, like you said, I think they take care of business as well. But
I'll give A&M credit for this.
Okay.
They just about have tried it all.
Well, you got that right. They have kind of gone down the list.
Let's try the young, hot coach, Kevin Sumlin. Let's try the guy from the NFL and Mike Sherman.
Yep.
Let's try the Aggie type and R.C. Slocum work.
Yep.
Way back, they made the big money offer to Jackie Sherrill. Way back, they made the big money offer to Bear Bryant. They tried a Texas Aggie and Gene Stallings. They tried the innovative offensive coach in Emory Ballard. They have really swung for the fences.
And it looks like we might see another one that doesn't work out, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll talk some wagering with Alan Bell.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey everybody, Chevy truck season, it's here. And if you're ready for a new Silverado, All-Star Chevrolet, right here in Olive Branch has deals that are spot on to save you money. And let's be real, your good credit deserves it. Financing as low as $0. No payment for 90 days. That could be next year. Plus, you get $1,000 in cash, and All-Star has all the Silverados. Fall road trips, tailgating, Thanksgiving, Christmas, timing could not be better. So come to Olive Branch and drive a new Tahoe or Traverse reverse. And if it's a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned you want, All-Star is loaded up. Camaro convertibles, Suburbans, Lexuses. If it's not here, just ask Jeff and he will find it for you. And Jeff and Kevin told me to thank all of you who are bringing your cars and trucks here to sell. You could get a check today for some crazy good money. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Bartlett or Carterville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Go where the season takes you, and it'll take you to huge savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Be packed with power in 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. 37 MPG combined, $18,755 or $199 a month. Ready for adventure? 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $25,595 or $299 a month. Plus 7 seating and top safety pick 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV, $32,185 or $399 a month. And every new Gossett Mitsubishi is equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, 500 military rebate, loyalty, conquest rebate, 500 G4, RHFO 1918, MSRP 19255, Sport, PU 015 137, MSRP 26595, Outlander RZ 006545, MSRP 33185, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still once a little bit slow over here from our earlier crash we had on 240 westbound between Walnut Grove and Poplar. Traffic's on the increase for a Friday afternoon. Some would say right on schedule in that construction zone. Be careful on 55 north and southbound between Macklemore, South Parkway. It's building pretty good right now on 55 south of Memphis down through DeSoto County. Hey, listen, if you ever get hurt in a car crash, call 901 Attorneys right here in Memphis. They're online at 901attorneys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Let's make some money. It's time for Wagering Talk with Alan Bell from CBS Sports. Alan is the executive producer of Early Edge, part of CBS Sports Digital, and on Twitter X at Alan G. Bell. Here's Alan with Bryant and Brett.
Alan Bell joins us now to talk some wagering. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. And before we get into any of these games, Brett, we were talking off air, and he brought up a good point. I was telling him about the Titans and their jerseys this weekend. What do you think about them? The Oilers jerseys. What do you think about those? Those are nice, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Now, first, I appreciate you guys having me back, and yeah, man, like I think they're sweet, right? Like, they look good. I'm a huge fan of pretty much all the NFL throwback uniforms. I love the Eagles, Kelly Green. You know,
they were
going
great.
down the list. Oh, they're fantastic. The creamsicles from Tampa Bay, right? I mean, they just look so good, you know. And I know that, you know, obviously the Titans played in Memphis there, you know, for a bit. So it's like we get this whole, you know, kind of come together, and everyone in Houston hates it, and I get it. I totally understand. They feel like they've lost their legacy, but yeah, man. Long story short, they look good.
Yeah, they played here as that 1 year, and then at Vandy, did they play as the Tennessee Oilers at Vandy, or was it already Titans by then?
It was Oilers, and then that's right when they were moving to the Titans. So they did it. I believe it was for 1 year at the Tennessee Oilers, and then rebranded as Titans.
Yeah, they were definitely the Tennessee Oilers here, and had the old Derrick on the side of the helmet. And I know it's still controversial that year, but Alan, it was so much fun for me because, you know, I just really I'd never been around the NFL that much, and before or since, and that year was a lot of fun. And I'll say it again: Blaine Bishop was great, Steve McNair was great, Eddie George was great, Chris Sanders, a wide receiver.
I'll tell you this, man. I do radio with Blaine Bishop here in Nashville, and he talks about that year in Memphis all the time. He's like, dude, the crowds were great. He was like, it's the perfect size venue. You had people that, like you said, he was like, that really hadn't been around the NFL. You know what I mean? So he was like, it was awesome because we had a year of just a completely different atmosphere in the NFL. He talks positively about it all the time. He loves it.
Let me tell you what he did that year. He played the next week after breaking his arm and played in a cast that looked like something out of Friday the 13th movie. And that's when I told him then, and every time I see him now, you see him at some Super Bowls at Radio Row, and even occasionally at SEC. Saw him this summer at SEC Media Days. And I told him, I said, toughest son of a gun on earth to play a week after breaking his arm.
He is. His hand, even now, his pinky was broken as well, and it's not even close to straight. It's wild when you look at it. Like, he's got a hand and then a pinky's just going sideways. He's a tough dude, man. He's very, very tough.
Oh man, if I tore a fingernail off, I'd be in traction.
Me too.
That's great. Oh, man. Well,
in fact, Brian, I'm going to have to leave it with you the rest of the show. Just this dialogue is exhausting. Alan Bell with us. Alan, let's start in college football. And let's start with Tennessee going up to Lexington. Tennessee forever has controlled this series, and of late, but it's always close, and it'll be fun tomorrow at Kroger Field.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, right? You got two teams that are kind of the same. You got two good defensive fronts in terms of stopping the run. You have two defensive fronts that really aren't that good at stopping the pass, and then two offenses that want to run and then use the pass, right? So, yeah, man, like I think Tennessee's the better team overall, but the Tennessee team isn't that great on the road, right? And you know that could be a tough place to play. It's always at night. It seems like it's always kind of questionable weather. You know, when they play, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's raining. So we'll see about that. But yeah, man, I would say if you're gonna bet anything on this game, specifically Tennessee, I would use money line and a parlay if you're gonna do that. 3.5 would just be too many. Like, I think it's gonna be a pretty tight game. Could go either way, but Tennessee should be the better team in this one. But we'll see. But if Tennessee's offense gets stacked, then they get in trouble.
Alan, I got to ask.
But there's a lot more out there that you like than this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alan, I got to ask you, and you might feel the same way about this one. This might be a game you don't love, but I got to ask you since you're with us. Memphis on the road against North Texas, a road game for the Tigers, but they're 7.5, 7-point favorites on the road, which seems like a big number for a conference road game. What do you like in this one for Memphis versus North Texas?
Yeah, I like the over. I'll tell you that. And I know that it's sitting at 68. But I think you're going to see two teams that can score. Now, here's the tough part. Memphis is a much better team, I believe. But you look at 7, it's a lot of points, man. I think that I would play the over as opposed to playing the 7 with Memphis just because, like you said, it's on the road, right? Like, anything can happen, especially get down there in beautiful Denton, Texas, right? Like, I would just be careful playing that large of a number on a spread. But I would definitely play the over. Memphis is going to do anything it wants offensively, and you're going to find times where North Texas is going to kind of do the same. So I think Memphis wins the game, but if you're looking at it from a wagering perspective, I would definitely look at the total as opposed to playing, the spread. 7's long points.
Tomorrow in Jacksonville, Florida, and Georgia, the cocktail party. Have you ever been to this game? It's about the only thing in the SEC world that I want to do that I haven't had a chance to do. I want to do it someday. I've been to a game there. I went to Florida State and Alabama there, and it was rowdy enough. Jacksonville can party.
Oh, they definitely can. Look, no, I haven't either. Look, I'm in the same boat. It's kind of the one thing, Southeast-wise football that I haven't been a part of. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna do that at some point. But man, yeah, I haven't done it either. Look, even Florida, with the spread, I mean, you're looking at double digits here. Georgia without their best player, arguably one of the best players in the country, in Brock Bowers. And again, I'm not saying that Georgia's just gonna lose this game and tank the rest of the year, but I think that he was a big part of what that offense could do. The defense is still there. That being said, though, man, Florida, Billy Napier, you look at his numbers in terms of coaching as an underdog, he covers a lot. And you're giving a big, big number here to Florida. I'll take the Gators here all day long, man. Give me the spread. I will take that all day.
I like it. An interesting one in Austin, Texas tomorrow. The Longhorns at home against BYU. A 20-point favorite. Quinn Ewers, as we know, is out. Malik Murphy will make the start. What do you like in this one, and do you think we see any Arch Manning tomorrow?
Man, you know what? I think that we do, because it's going to be time to where you need to start getting the kid reps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tennessee is in that mode as well with the backup quarterback there in Nico. You need to get these guys really time. Yeah. Let them get the feel of it, man. Let them get out there. I'm going to roll with BYU the spread. Now, again, I think Texas wins the game, but Quinn Ewers does a lot for that offense, specifically the way that he can operate not only in the pass, but using him in the run game and, kind of running those, different sets. And, man, it's just too much to ask with him out. So, yeah, I'll take BYU the spread all day. Texas will win that game, but they're not going to cover.
We haven't had the crazy weekend, the blockbuster upset. Do we get any of those straight up tomorrow? Colorado at the Rose Bowl Stadium against UCLA, a couple in the Pac, a couple in the Big Ten, Ohio State at Wisconsin. Wisconsin, a road underdog. Do we get any of the shockers tomorrow?
I don't think so, but it's coming, right? And if you look the next couple weeks, take a look at Michigan. They have to play, I think it's Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State, all three in a row, right? Like, that's going to be their season right there. All the things going on outside of that program. I think that's where we can see one here coming up. But this week feels like it's not necessarily upset week. It feels like it's just crazy this week. So I'm going to give you two plays right here. Virginia and Miami, over 47.5. All right, the last 2 weeks, both Virginia and Miami have played North Carolina consecutively. Virginia won. Miami lost. All right, both of those games were in Chapel Hill. Virginia's playing a little bit better. Miami, man, like, you just don't know what you're going to get at home. That being said, both teams are going to score, but I think both teams are going to have kind of just dumb, looks, there for a quarter, and they just don't play very well. So I like you over in that one. But here's my favorite play of the week. You brought up Colorado. All right, Colorado, UCLA, under 63.5. All right, and I'll tell you why. Deion Sanders, what he's looking to do at Colorado offensively is exactly what Chip Kelly perfected at Oregon, that fast-paced, up-tempo offense. Now, it's not exactly the same how they go about it, but in general, that's what Colorado wants to do. Well, here's the thing. Somebody who's perfected it in Chip Kelly, he knows where the weak points are, okay? And he's got an excellent defense to do it. They're only giving up on average 14.7 points per game this year. His defense is legitimate. And how does UCLA score? They run the football. So what Chip Kelly's going to do is say, okay, playing against a team that has no defense but has an offense. So how do you stop a team that only has an offense? You don't give them the ball. He's just going to run the football and control the clock all game long. Yeah, UCLA's good. They're going to definitely score points, but it is going to be limited in what Colorado can do. So I would take that under. 63.5 is way too many points. Because Chip Kelly legitimately is just going to play keep away and just run the football all day long and do what he wants doing it. So, yeah, way too many points.
Talking to Alan Bell from CBS Sports Digital, also the executive producer of The Early Edge. Alan, let's get to some NFL, and I've got to start with my Dallas Cowboys at home against the Rams at noon on Sunday. Dallas, a 6-point favorite. That total sitting about 45.5. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, I like Dallas. I think Dallas is a much better team. Now, the Rams are playing such better football than pretty much all of us thought coming into the year, right? But that being said, they get into trouble when they have to pass too much. And I think this is going to be one of those games. I think Dallas is looking to just, again, continue, get better week by week, and stack wins where they can. If this game were on the road, even though it would be a home game for Dallas and Los Angeles, I just don't trust a Rams on the road, specifically in a game where Dallas, not only their offense can do it at once, but their defense is going to have fun out there. And they're going to get after Matthew Stafford in that offense. So, yeah, man, Dallas, the fact that it's sitting at 6 and not 6.5 is a huge difference. Yeah, give me the Cowboys there.
Bill Belichick got to 300 last week. To get to 301, he's got to pull the straight-up upset at Miami. Dolphins minus 9.5. Your take on that game?
Oh, Dolphins all day long. You got Miami coming off of a loss. You got New England coming off of arguably its biggest win in a while. With that comeback win over Buffalo there. This is just a tough spot, man, because Miami, when they want to score, and they do, good luck. And New England just doesn't play the style of football that Miami does. So if the Dolphins are who the Dolphins are, buddy, good luck. And Jalen Ramsey is coming back. This man is coming back quick from a very serious injury. So not that he's going to play and not that he's going to make a huge difference in his comeback, but just him being in the locker room and, putting on the uniform, like, that is going to give a boost to that whole team and a boost that, quite frankly, they've all been looking to get for this week coming off of that loss. So I'm rolling Miami all day. This is a bad matchup for New England.
Alan, before we get you out of here, what is your favorite bet in the NFL this weekend?
Oh, man, favorite bet, the Atlanta Falcons money line against Tennessee. Now, look, if you want to play a prop in this game, Nick Folk, Titans kicker over 1.5 field goals. This team without Ryan Tannehill, they're going double quarterback here with Malik Willis and Will Levis. I don't trust that. And then you look at Atlanta, their head coach, Arthur Smith was the OC for Tennessee, and he practiced against this defense over and over and over. And the fact that they traded Kevin Byers as well, it is going to be, I just don't trust Tennessee. So I think your best bet is playing the Atlanta Falcons.
I like it. Well, Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck this weekend. We'll do it again next Friday.
Hey, look forward to it, boys. Y'all be good.
Thanks, Alan.
That's Alan Bell, and that's all his picks with us for this week. As we wrap up October, this is the end of October football this weekend. That means November. That means holidays. That means Thanksgiving and into December. And the place for all the holiday food and fare and good times, it's the commissary, the new Collierville commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, perfect for a big group, for game watching tomorrow, game watching tonight, anytime, but also perfect for the Thanksgiving Day feast, and coming up soon, the Christmas time feast. And you can get that smoked turkey, the gravy, homemade cornbread dressing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, butter, plates, utensils. They do it all except for cleaning up, and it's all at a reasonable price. Call 901-754-5540. Save someone that big, gigantic hassle of them having to do all that preparation. Let the commissary do it. They know what they're doing, and they want to, with all the hams and the turkeys, all the sides, the gravy, quart of dressing, quart of sweet potato casserole, the bulk pricing, turkey and dressing with gravy. They got the turkey and ham and dressing and gravy. If you're planning on eating any of the items on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day, pick them up on the day before the holiday. They'll be cold. You'll have heating instructions. And if you're eating the above items on a specific day before the holidays, the commissary will heat them up for you and have it ready for you. Office parties and the family get-togethers started at the commissary. 901-754-5540. 5540. Online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown, the party areas, the orders to go, the catering, the tailgating, the holidays, they've got it. And they've got the barbecue, the Memphis-style barbecue and ribs done the authentic Memphis slow-cooked way. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733 right now. But for the holiday get-togethers, 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Grizzlies game tonight against the Denver Nuggets. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
No matter what your past credit, no matter how much you owe on your trade, no matter if you tried to buy at another dealer and were turned down, Sunrise can get you financed. There's never been a better time to trade. Sunrise has hundreds of new vehicles and over a $10 million used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. Sunrise has the lowest prices and will not be undersold. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com. The blowout going on now at all Sunrise locations, Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Oh, come on, it's funny.
Can't do it.
Trick or treat, here's some meat.
Seriously, the Central Barbecue spot for October has been about Halloween for like 5 straight years.
Look, you've done the ladling Central Barbecue beans into their bag thing.
Yeah, I got in trouble both times. They didn't like the phrase ladling beans into their bag.
Well, what else happens in October? Hey, I tell you what, do they do any pumpkin spice stuff?
God, no.
That's good. I'm tapped for anything else for October. How about just a straight spot about how great the food is at Central Barbecue?
What, like Central Barbecue has the best slow-smoked ribs in Memphis?
Yeah, something like that.
Too boring.
It doesn't matter, we're out of time anyway.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery, both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Wow, I feel good shopping at DriveMax. DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios as always. And the Grizzlies, they're back in action tonight against the Denver Nuggets. And if you're planning on going to that game, you're starting to get ready to plan to get down there because it's a 6 p.m. start tonight, an early game. But if you haven't seen the injury report, Santi Aldama still out with a sprained ankle. Luke Kennard joining with a concussion. So the Grizzlies will be slim tonight against the defending champs. When you saw what those defending champs did in their first game out, it could be a tough one tonight for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, it could be, and we knew in the schedule when it came out that it was going to be quite challenging for the Grizzlies, and it looks like it's going to be, especially with all the limitations now with the Grizzlies. And the biggest one, Ja Morant knew about that one, but you throw in Steven Adams and the others, then this team could get off to a slower than expected start. That first 25 could get difficult, but you don't quit after some adversity and after 2 games.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this after that first game yesterday. I mean, I think we all knew these first 2 games, regardless of who was out, who was playing. When we saw the schedule, those first 2 games on the schedule were going to be challenging. The Pelicans last year, when they were healthy, were a very good team in the West, and the Nuggets are just coming off winning the NBA Finals last year. So I think everyone knew that these first 2 games were going to be hard. It was, okay, get through those 2 games, and then what happens? So I'm not worried about what happens tonight. Yes, I want the Grizzlies to be competitive. I don't want them to just go out there and lay down, but I think you'll really get a good look these next 3 or 4 games after this one tonight.
Yeah, and it's never easy, and it won't be easy tonight. It's the highest standard in the league against the champions that look like they could really be poised with some breaks and staying injury-free. Long time till next April, though.
Oh, yeah.
And the playoffs beginning even longer to next June when the NBA Finals begin. But the Nuggets, they're expecting to be around for that. Last night, I was surprised that in Game 2, the Lakers taxed LeBron that much.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know if we talked about it. I think I brought it up with John after their first game. He only played about 27 minutes, and Darvin Ham after the game said 27 minutes could be kind of the new normal for LeBron James. And then you see him go out. Now, after the game, he was talking with one of the TNT reporters, and he said that basically what they did was they kind of managed his minutes early in the game, and then he kind of had the green light late when it was such a close game. Hey, we need you, because I can't remember the exact number, but I mean, it is a stark difference when LeBron James is on the bench and when he's on the court with that team right now. I mean, they are plus. They're in the plus for sure when he's out there playing, and when he's on the bench, they just really struggle. They're in the negative, and they really struggle to get offense going. So they really need him out there. But Brett, at his age, you can't run him out there for he played the entire fourth quarter yesterday. You can't have him playing the entire fourth quarter at his age every single night, or we're going to be back to where we've been the past couple of years, where he's out for months at a time late in the season.
Yeah, back to the Grizzlies. If they were to lose tonight, so 0-2 at home, only lost 6 all of last year at FedEx Forum.
Wow, I forgot about that. Wow,
so
almost halfway
I'm
there.
not much on the freak-out factor, but it would be correct to say a third of the way to losing last year's total after 2 home games.
After 2 games. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. But I mean, hey, things happen. I guess I think if this team was
happened.
Yeah, and I mean, if this team was healthy, I still think even you still leave the Ja Morant suspension in there, but you have Steven Adams back, and I think this might be a little different, and still 2 very difficult opponents to go up against in those first 2 games. But that's just how the schedule shakes out, and it's a different schedule every year. So I wouldn't look at that too much. But you're right. I mean, so much success at home for the Grizzlies, and so hopefully we can continue to see them have that success this season. But it might not happen today, and it might. Who knows? The Grizzlies could go out there and play well, but it would have to be a big night from Jaren Jackson tonight, I think.
6 o'clock at FedEx Forum tonight, and tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Memphis time, as they play in D.C. against the Wizards.
Yeah, and the Wizards, their first game against the Pacers, gave up almost 150 points, really struggled defensively. So I think you have a great opportunity tomorrow night against that Wizards team. We know the Wizards aren't playing for anything right now. They're in total rebuild mode and really just kind of playing for the future. They do have some fun pieces. We'll get to see Tyus Jones again on the other side, so that will be a lot of fun. But I think if you asked me, I'd say if you go 1-1 this weekend in those two games, you feel pretty good with a win against the Wizards and maybe a loss tonight against the Nuggets. 2-0, you feel great.
I would.
Yeah.
Really great. I
Yeah.
would be fine with kind of sacrificing that one tonight against a very good team.
Yeah, I mean, a really, really good team. But I hope the Grizzlies go out there, and I hope they win. I hope Jaren looks much better than he did in that first game. I hope we see the same Desmond Bane that we saw in that first game. And if we see all that, it could become a really fun game tonight against the Nuggets. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour, get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more wagering with Bruce Marshall.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family-friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
If you want a deal, get to Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike because we've got Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days still going strong. If you're looking to save up to $12,000 off a new ride, we Gossett covered. Right now, take your pick. 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Summit 4-wheel drive or 2023 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon 4x4, $12,000 off MSRP. And 2023 Wagoneer L Series 111 4x4, $10,000 off MSRP. And if we don't have what you're looking for, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Wagoneer PS5 64,158, MSRP 117,430. Cherokee P88 76 88.9, MSRP 80,205. Gladiator PL 509,834, MSRP 68,815. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's Friday. You know the drill. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. It's already picked up a little bit of volume in Midtown, but it's moving on 240 southbound from Union down to Norris as traffic increases over here on 240 east and westbound up by Poplar. I know we had some crashes over here a little bit earlier. And watch for radar I-40 as you leave Shelby County headed out towards Fayette County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're back open better than ever. Go by and see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant and Brett.
Welcome back in on a Fight Song Friday to Sports Time. Brian Brett with you, and joining us now, Bruce Marshall, to talk some wagering. And Bruce, I'm already excited to ask you about this Florida-Georgia game with the Florida Fight Song bringing you in. But before we get to any football over the weekend, I've got to ask you about the World Series. It starts tonight, Rangers versus D-backs. How do you think this World Series is going to play out? Who do you have winning tonight and for the series?
I kind of have the Rangers winning, although it's not lost upon me, Brian. This is like the NHL now, like the Stanley Cup playoffs. When you add more teams and you got short series at the end of a long season, you're going to get surprises like this, and it's like we saw the Florida Panthers in the final last year in the Stanley Cup, 8th seed in the East. Here we go, the last seed in the West, the Diamondbacks being there. Texas, though, I just think a little bit more depth in the rotation and more bats that can hurt you in the lineup. I wouldn't be shocked if Arizona won. This has been an underdog playoff. But I'm going to lean, and being on the road has not been a negative. But I will lean a little to Texas to end up winning this thing back at home when they get back there in 6 or 7 next week.
Okay, it's kind of been homogenized in hockey and this year in baseball. And this year in college football, there's no behemoth out there. A lot of teams look a lot alike. A lot of teams could beat a lot of other ones on any given Saturday afternoon. All off season, we were searching high and low for this year's TCU, and that's just somebody making the college football Final Four, making the college football playoff. Bruce, could Ole Miss be this year's TCU?
It would take several things happening, but including LSU beating Alabama, and then Ole Miss keeps on winning and making that the tiebreaker in the West. So it's theoretically possible. Then they could go through and beat Georgia. I guess it's possible it could happen for Ole Miss. But I think the overarching thought, and I may write something about this soon, Brett, and looking at Michigan, the way they're rolling through here, but look at the schedule's an embarrassment. I think I've heard this proposed a couple of times, but the thing about future scheduling in college football, if this thing is evolving the way it is, and with the super conferences and all of that, a real relic from the past are these schedules out 10, 12 years, and then some of the inane games we've got with that's why September, really drags sometimes, because you've got all these games that are a lot of non-competitive, non-conference games. It really ramps up when you get into October, and it's mostly all conference games. But there should never be a year where Michigan's got this sort of a non-conference schedule. UNLV's turned out to be okay this year, but that's far their best non-conference win. But you need to play somebody better than that, and I hope at some point we don't have to endure teams with these sorts of schedules like Michigan had the first part of the season.
Yeah, and I said earlier this week, those victory margins, 31, 24, 39, 46, it looks like the Powerball numbers.
Yeah, they do. They do, and it's all these games have sort of looked alike, and we'll find out a lot more about Michigan come November because the schedule does ramp up.
Sure does.
But I rarely recall a team catching this many breaks, and also they've some of the Big Ten West teams they've played haven't been that good either. And the Big Ten, besides right at the top there, is a pretty mediocre league this year. So it's not the same as everywhere around. Look who Alabama's had to play and who they will have to play. Look who Ole Miss has had to play. Michigan hasn't had any challenges like that. So that's just the way it is for this year. We'll see how it plays out.
Right now, the Michigan scandal on your repulse meter, on your outrage meter, where's it ranking for you, and when does it rise to full Watergate status? When does Alexander Butterfield and Jeb Magruder walk in the room?
By me, it already has.
Really?
And
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't have a year like this. And I really, the schedule thing, they have got to get this thing straightened out if they're going to be beholden this much to TV. And this also goes outside of Michigan. This goes for the SEC too. If they want to stick with 8 in the conference, because a lot of these schools want to pad an extra non-conference game that they can win, there's no place for that anymore. I think do what the other leagues do, and oh, by the way, we got one this weekend. We got Georgia and Florida, and if they go to this 7-1 plan where there's only one annual opponent. For Georgia, it may end up having to be Florida and not Auburn, which is the oldest rivalry in the South, because Auburn's going to probably have to pick Bama. That would also mean the third Saturday in October versus Tennessee is gone, and LSU's gone. So I think the SEC really ought to go to a 7-2 thing and have 2 annual foes.
So agree,
and not the 7-1. We'll see what happens.
I so agree. I mean, Bruce, and it's not a word often associated with SEC. To stay at 8 looks soft, and that's rarely used. Pac-12 this weekend, it's the next time we see you for a lot of these games. This is it. They will not be playing annually a lot of these games remaining.
It really is kind of sad, too, because you got a lot of long rivalries that are ending. I mean, UCLA and Stanford last week played. They'd played every year since 1946, Brett. And now it's done. USC and Cal this weekend. Oregon and Washington State.
Tomorrow.
Washington, Stanford. Long history there. Oregon and Washington State, a regional rivalry last week, gone after this year. And I don't know that the Apple Cup and what they used to call the Civil War with the Oregon schools, if that's even coming back. That's the other thing. You're talking about some of these rivalries that we're going to be missing, a lot of them in the Pac-12. This is really... it hasn't really sunk in yet, I think, to the fans on the Pacific Coast, because this year has been very captivating thus far in the Pac-12. But, it's going to hit like a ton of bricks next year. It's over. And you're going to have to get used to watching the Big 12 and the ACC if you're in the Bay Area. It's just not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of different next year in college football. But Bruce Marshall joining us from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Let's get into some of these games this weekend. Let's start in college football. And we brought you into the Florida fight song. Let's go straight to that game. Georgia versus Florida this weekend. Georgia, a 14-point favorite right now. Brock Bowers out for the Bulldogs. That total sitting at about 49. What do you like in this one?
Well, they seem to be running the tight ends through there, but Bowers is awfully good, and I think he might be the best tight end I've seen in college football since Gronk at Arizona about 15 years ago. So that they can't help but miss him. They've also only covered 1 point spread this season, so Georgia hasn't been overachieving against the number. Florida, this would be huge if Billy Napier could somehow pull this thing off. I don't think he can, but they might be able to stay within that number. Graham Mertz, we criticized him earlier in the year, or I certainly did, but he's picked up the pace. When you throw for over 400 yards in any SEC game, even if it's at South Carolina, that's saying something, and he did that.
And Ricky Pearsall, really good.
Yeah, and so they got some ways to move the ball here, and they've had a couple of real bad efforts this year. Though the Utah game was bad, the Kentucky game was bad, so that prevents me from going really strong on Florida here. But a light vote to the Gators plus the points. 34-23 Georgia. My score forecast 14-14.5. I'll take it with Florida.
All right, Bruce, last week, I don't know if y'all saw the special on ESPN over basically the guy like Amazing Kreskin, the guy that it was on game day last week, the guy that could do all the predicting. I mentioned Watergate earlier. I've got written down what I think you'll say. We have not practiced this, Bryant. We're going to see how good I am.
All right.
Name me your favorite Watergate figure of all time, Bruce. From back in the day, 50 years ago this summer, the nation riveted to the hearings all summer long that ultimately led to Richard Nixon's resignation. Did you have a favorite character?
G. Gordon Liddy.
Oh, I missed. I slammed him earlier. I had Donald Segretti down. I thought you'd like the prankster more than anybody else. Segretti was a guy that would show up at Ted Kennedy rallies in a frogman suit.
Well, yes, Segretti might have been too, but I like the story. Liddy was at a party once, and he lit a cigarette lighter and let his skin burn, and somebody said, doesn't that hurt? And he said, yeah. He said, the difference is not minding if it hurts. So when the guy was that crazy, I mean, he was in the mix too.
He was a real ran for Congress in upstate New York, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe he did. Yeah.
Wow.
Way out.
All right, Bruce. All right, Bruce, pick us A&M laying the 17 at home early tomorrow morning against South Carolina. I think South Carolina's offensive line is a disaster.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, about Shane Beamer there too. They were all excited at the start, but the bar is set a little bit lower at South Carolina for a while. They still remember Spurrier getting them in contention for enough years, so you can go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl your first year and maybe slip into another one your second year. Right. But if you slip back beneath 500 by your third year, all of a sudden it's going to be like, you know what? It's maybe not working here. So I don't like the trajectory there. I think Spencer Rattler is pretty, except for a few games, and who knows if they didn't beat Tennessee and Clemson late last year, Beamer might be in trouble right now. But they're going the wrong direction. I think Jimbo's in trouble too. And he better not lose this one, but I don't think he will. Their defense has stepped up and is pretty good. Max, if he gets a little time to throw, I think can do enough damage here. It's just, do I really want to lay points with Texas A&M at this spot? Maybe. I'm updating my score forecast here to 31-10 A&M. I think I'd lean that way a little bit, but not my favorite game of the week. I don't trust A&M too much. I just like South Carolina a little bit less, I think.
All right, before we get to your favorite games, tell us how do you think the next 4 to 6 weeks plays out in Fayetteville? Open date this week for the Razorbacks. What are you hearing? What do you think happens?
Well, I think as of 2-3 weeks ago, I would have thought that Sam Pittman would have been facing the Music next season. That was going to be his, win or else. But I think it's now down to November here for him. And he's got to somehow get this thing turned around, but it looks like they ain't going to make a bowl game. And if this offense just continues to tank like this, I think he may they may make a move there. Wow. And it wouldn't surprise me, because you can't The trajectory has been down since his second year, and it's now accelerating. I mean, he seemed like a perfect fit there for a while, the homespun and all that. But you can't survive in this league and endure with an offense doing what this one is doing. So this sort of reminds me of Dino Babers up at Syracuse down. They've coached themselves into real trouble, and I think it's less than 50-50 that either of those guys survive.
Wow. I want to go to College Game Day tomorrow in Utah. 8th-ranked Oregon versus 13th-ranked Utah. Oregon, a 6.5-point favorite on the road. That total sitting about 47. What do you like in this marquee matchup?
I think it might go over, but I also like Utah. It's kind of hard to believe they're getting this many points at home. They haven't lost there in 3 years, and that was in the COVID year, so it's really in a regular, real season. I mean, they haven't lost there in 4 years in Salt Lake City. They should have won the game in Eugene last year. Very close loss. We saw what they did last week against USC, switching to Barnes here at quarterback and sticking with him. By the way, Hugh Freeze might want to give Kyle Whittingham a call, or Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. You decide on a quarterback and stick with him. And Barnes really, they rallied around him last week, and now that we know Cam Rising is not coming back this year, physically, this team is very hard to beat. The only team that that handled them this year really was Oregon State, because they were physical enough to deal with Utah. I'm not sure Oregon is. Oregon might be able to, but we saw last week against SC, earlier against UCLA, which is a pretty physical team. Utah is a pretty tough nut to crack up front there, and they usually win these games in the pits. And I give Whittingham all the respect plus the points here. Oregon, by the way, loses a game here, they're probably out of the playoff picture, and it's kind of remote for them anyway. But I think that might happen. 30-27 Utes, so that is over the total. But I think Utah wins this one. Given points at home, I'd take them plus points against the Kansas City Chiefs at home, much less the Ducks.
Yeah, Rice-Eccles, really tough place, and you're right. I don't know how they're getting this many in that 2:30 Central Time game on Fox. Tomorrow in Austin, we think we might see Arch Manning for the first time. We know we won't see Quinn Ewers, and we know BYU is a heavy underdog. BYU at Texas.
Yeah, by the way, this is Sark against his alma mater, one angle there.
Right.
Two,
Good
Malik
point.
Murphy starts, very touted, but very inexperienced. I mean, got a handful of snaps last week. They like him, but, he hasn't played too much. I am thinking, we watched Texas last week, we watched Oklahoma last week, we watched Washington last week. These teams in the top 10, as the season progresses, Brett, I think it becomes more of a difficult slog for them to get over these big point spreads like we saw with all those teams last week. And just name a score. I mean, again, you're not playing the teams they were playing earlier in the season when they could run up a score like that. And BYU comes in. The TCU game bothers me because they really got boat raced at TCU, but they handled Texas Tech pretty easily last week. The offense didn't do a lot, but didn't have to. The defense made some plays. They won at Arkansas. That started Arkansas's slide back in September. Keaton Slovis, former USC quarterback, former Pitt quarterback. He's there at BYU now. They're competent enough not to get drilled tomorrow. So I'm taking BYU plus the points against the backup quarterback, and maybe even Arch Manning we see tomorrow. 30-17 Texas, but 20 is way too many points to lay here.
Yeah, it's a big number. Bruce, I want to get to some NFL games, but before we do that, what is your favorite college play tomorrow? And we love to get your kind of off-the-wall game, off-the-radar game. What's that for this weekend?
Well, they're both two in the same. I'll give you one of each there. UTSA, the Roadrunners, at home. They're hot now. Frank Harris, the 15th-year quarterback, is back in the lineup. They're playing East Carolina, which has really dropped off this year post Holt Nailers, and it's under 3 TDs. So the Roadrunners run away from East Carolina tomorrow in the Alamo Dome. My favorite game tomorrow is the get-out game in Honolulu. San Jose State. This number has risen from 8 to like 10.5 against Hawaii. San Jose is not bad, and their schedule. Compare their schedule to Michigan's. What they had early in the season: USC, Oregon State, Air Force, the best team in the Mountain West, Toledo, the best team in the MAC, then up at Boise. And they could have won that Boise game. They could have won the Toledo game. All of a sudden now they're rolling 250-plus rushing the last 2 weeks. Cordero, the quarterback, played at Hawaii, and Hawaii has really dropped off the map. This offense, Timmy Chang is running, worked 20 years ago when June Jones ran it with Chang at quarterback, but there's nothing special about the Red Gun now. And by the way, they don't run the football either at Hawaii. Last in the nation in rushing. San Jose rolls tomorrow night in a get-out game late at Hawaii.
I love that, Bruce. Nothing better than a late night, especially here. That's about 11 p.m.
10:59 Central kick.
Nothing better than that, Bruce. You'll keep me up all night with that play. Let's jump over to the NFL, and I've got to start with my Cowboys. A noon game on Sunday here locally, our time, against the Rams. Dallas, a 6-point favorite at home. That total sitting about 45.5. What do you like in this one, Bruce?
I like the Rams. And I'm not sure I trust Dallas yet, getting over the hump. The Rams are competitive. They played the Niners a lot tougher than Dallas did early in the year. I know Rams are 3-4 now. They've had some tough losses there, but they've got Kupp back and Nakua. This is a good combination with Matthew Stafford. I am not sold all the way on Dallas. They won that one game barely against the Chargers, who seem to lose all the close games they play nowadays. So I don't know that was a buy signal. I think the Rams, maybe even on the money line, you might want to take a look. I picked them to win in BAM 23-20, but certainly plus 6.5, definitely with the Rams.
And your favorite NFL play for Sunday or Sunday night, or even into Monday?
Monday night, the Lions. This is over a touchdown against the Raiders. I give Detroit a mulligan for last week in Baltimore. They looked great before that, 4 straight wins by 14 or more. They say Jimmy G might play Monday for the Raiders. I don't think it matters, him or Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. The Raider offense has not scored more than 19 points in a game this year. The one game they got to 21, they got a safety late when Max Crosby sacked Mac Jones in the Patriot game a couple weeks ago. Detroit boat races the Raiders on Monday night.
Bruce, I know the NBA season's already started, but was there anything on season totals, over or unders, that you love for the NBA?
Not as much. I mean, I thought Orlando might be sort of an interesting play there, but and guys I talked to this year, because of all the load management stuff, and it seems like a lot of the talent is spaced out across the league. I think it's a really tough call on the season wins now, but especially with the load management stuff. You just don't know who's going to be playing. A star guy could play 55 games, and that's a pretty heavy load now. He misses a third of the season. It's a tougher bet nowadays because of what's going on in the NBA.
And Bryant and I we both prefaced it with, we know we're a year too soon. We know we're a year too early, but we both love Detroit. It is really young. 13 players on their roster, 25 years or younger. Bruce, tell our listeners more about how they can get more information from you and your great website.
Yeah, thanks. Check us out online at bamsports.net. College Pro Prophecy up there. We got some picks up there, too, for this weekend, so bamsports.net. VegasInsider.com, all my picks there, and we'll have that's basketball, hockey, and football, and some baseball this weekend. And CBS Sports HQ, I'm appearing. I was on yesterday afternoon again, so usually once a week or so they'll put me on the TV there on CBS Sports HQ.
I love it, Bruce. Good deal. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again Friday.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. Bruce,
have a great weekend.
Yeah, and man, Brett, I said it to Bruce, and I mean it. He's gonna keep me up all night Saturday with that play for San Jose State at Hawaii. I mean, that's gonna keep me up all night.
10:59 Memphis kick in that one.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Don't live text it to me, okay?
No, I won't do that. I got to find somewhere to watch it, though. Brett, I think they have, in Hawaii, their own sort of local television that they put the games on. And so I think it's kind of hard to find. I think if you do find, I think you have to pay for it. So maybe listen to the radio coverage of it if I can find that. I don't know what we're going to do.
That's great.
I don't know what we're going to do Saturday night into the wee hours of Sunday morning, but you'd be crazy to think if I'm not going to play that game that late. That's beautiful. I mean, that just made my day, Brett. It really did. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we've got to break down the weekend in the SEC, a handful of games. We've also got to talk about the Tigers and their trip down to Denton, Texas to take on North Texas. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
The Family Leisure Studio We are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Wow, I feel good shopping at DriveMax. DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass. Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, Forte PE $678,6055, MSRP $21,610, Nero P5017859, MSRP $41,090, EV6 P5017859, MSRP $49,687. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/23 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the weather's getting cooler, but the deals keep on getting hotter at Gossett Kia South. What you got going on, Jeff?
Only the best deals you'll find on your new Kia, Randy. I've got 41 MPG Highway in a new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 do-it signing. I've got EV action with a 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. All 36-month lease.
Plus a free charger with your EV purchase and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I'm trying to clean up this wreck over here with injuries on 40 eastbound at Warford. It's got traffic slow between Hollywood and Warford going eastbound. On I-40 as we stared at live, there's about 5 or 6 THP units over here working this accident. That's adding to that slowdown now on 40 east at Warford. It's picked up even more with volume on 240 getting onto 385 going outbound. If you get hurt in a car crash, call 901 Attorneys right here in Memphis. They're online, 901attorneys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we continue with our Fight Song Friday with the Georgia Fight Song, and that kind of leads us right into the weekend in the SEC, as only a handful of games, a couple off weeks, I should say, in the SEC this weekend. But let's start off with the cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Georgia, and Florida. Brett, how do you see this game going tomorrow afternoon with first time seeing Georgia without Brock Bowers this year?
Well, you heard Bruce talking about Mertz for Florida, and he has been much better than at Wisconsin, and we'll see if he can continue that tomorrow. Florida's playing better, but was that Florida or was that South Carolina? How much better is it really for Florida? I still just go back to that performance against Utah that was just so bad, and then how Tennessee just didn't even show in their game. But tomorrow for Georgia's competition now, it increases. It's going to get a little bit tougher. November is going to be tougher than September and October. And it was in the absence of Brock Bowers, but I think Carson Beck is big time quarterback with enough receivers to get it done over Florida.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think this should be an interesting game. It's a rivalry game, so you know what that means, Brett. You throw out all the books. It's a new game, and you never know what to expect. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what this Florida team can do because, we talked about it. Bruce mentioned it. I think even Allen mentioned it earlier about how this Florida team has some good weapons. They seem to be improving. Graham Mertz, you talk about that first game of the season against Utah. He did not look good at all. And it seems to be improving in this offense. And so it'll be interesting to see what they can do tomorrow afternoon against Georgia. 11 a.m. we start in the SEC, though. South Carolina, Texas A&M. We've talked about this game a little bit today, but the Gamecocks just have not looked very good this year. And going on the road to Texas A&M, things are a little wacky down in College Station, but I think Texas A&M, I think they roll tomorrow against South Carolina.
Well, it's time for them to look good. I don't know that they've really had that, bright, shiny win really all year. They had some okay losses, but that doesn't get it done for your team and for your fans really early. And I think it's a big advantage. I think I'm going to do that research next summer. I think that 11 o'clock game for the home team, I think it's advantage home team. We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Wasn't for Arkansas last week.
No, it certainly was not, but maybe in College Station tomorrow it will be. Also at 2:30 tomorrow on SEC Network, Mississippi State at Auburn. You saw firsthand this Auburn team last week when Ole Miss went down there and got the win. But Mississippi State, after getting the win at Arkansas last week, it was an ugly game, but they do get the win. Now they travel down to Jordan-Hare. How do you think this one goes? Auburn's offense, really both these offenses, have looked a little static over the last couple weeks.
Well, some are on 3-2 alert. The 3-2 game from a few years ago, I don't know if it's going to be that low scoring. It might be 6-5.
Yeah.
What if it was that? I don't know if we had the scorigami of all time in college football. But neither team wildly talented at quarterback. And Auburn, this is the least best Auburn's going to be for a while. The Auburn receiver play last week was just dreadful to watch. They're really bad. I think Jarquez Hunter at times can be a big-time back, but Auburn should win this one at home.
Yeah, I agree with you. It also looks like a chance of rain tomorrow in that game, so it could be a wet game where you really rely on your run game for both teams. 6 o'clock tomorrow night, Tennessee at Kentucky up in Lexington, and both teams 5-2, both looking for more wins. One more win for both these teams would make them bowl eligible on ESPN tomorrow night. I kind of like Tennessee on the road here, Brett.
Isn't it something late October in both of these teams? And there's a lot of teams out there in college football that you can say this about. What's the real identity of these teams?
That's a great point.
What do they do really, really well? I think Tennessee's really good up front on defense.
Yeah.
I think I mostly know it. But then last week, Bama gashed them a little bit, and this is not nowhere near vintage Bama. We keep waiting on Leary for Kentucky, and he just hadn't done it.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky's strong suit's running the ball.
Sure.
So then that would be strong suit kind of against strong suit with a good front against a good running game. But there are just a lot of teams right now, not directionless, but just identityless.
No, you're right about that. And for Kentucky, I just have yet to buy in on them. And I know they're 5-2 right now. A win tomorrow would make them bowl eligible. Like you said, seems like their strong suit offensively is that run game, and we saw what they did on the ground a couple of weeks ago. But I just can't buy into this team yet, and kind of I still have a lot of questions about this Tennessee game. But last game of the day in the SEC, 6:30 on SEC Network down in Oxford, where you're at, Brett. Vanderbilt on the road against Ole Miss. A massive line for that one. We're gonna pick that one during Friday Football Forecast later in the show. But 2-6 Vanderbilt at 6-1 Ole Miss. This should be an easy one for the Rebels.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about this game with Gary Darby, as we also will talk a lot of Grizzlies with him coming up at 5 o'clock. But it should be a win for Ole Miss to get to 7-1. Remember, Ole Miss got out to 8-1 last year, and that's what I think a lot of people are really on alert for, to see how Ole Miss closes after last year's fast start, and then close very well. Good opportunity tomorrow night for Ole Miss to play a lot of players. And I don't know this is going on, but it just at a lot of places when you have a game where you're favored 24.5, a lot of players say, hey, play me. I need to play more. Okay, well, you're going to get to play in this one.
Yeah, get your shot in this
one.
Go
do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll see a little bit of that. But like you said, we'll
And Brian, the time of the year on these big, heavily favored lines, play somebody to keep their eye off the portal.
Oh, absolutely. That might be the biggest part of it nowadays, because very easily could jump in that portal right when the season's over, and for some of these teams, before the season's even over. So that should be an interesting game. Like I said, a big line. We're going to talk more about that one to start our 5 o'clock hour with Gary Darby. All right, well, let's switch our focus from the SEC to the Tigers tomorrow afternoon. A very fun matchup. Tigers versus North Texas. Alan Bell alluded to this earlier when he said take the over in this one. Two really fun offenses.
Fun offenses, and as the week has worn on, I've liked North Texas more and more.
Yeah.
I love that quarterback, Chandler Rogers, only 14 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He takes care of the ball. And we saw the quarterback play from a lot of different UAB quarterbacks last week really be able to move the ball against Memphis. But North Texas doesn't stop the run much at all. But very similar. Points per game, 34.7 for Memphis, 34.6 for North Texas. Passing yards a game, North Texas 290, Memphis 266. Third down conversion rate, both teams at 41%. Red zone scores, Memphis at 91%, North Texas at 93%.
Wow, so very, very similar offensively. For sure, and we could see a lot of
defensive line play for Memphis.
Absolutely.
It has to be stout. And I think it is. I think it's a pretty good group.
I think you're right. And I think, just like you could say about a lot of different position groups and a lot of different teams, as the season goes on, it seems like they're coming along. And so, you go back to that game against UAB and you look at that first half and that second half. The second half, I think the Tigers played great football, both sides of the ball. The offense was rolling. The defense was coming up with stops, and you saw them be able to kind of run away with that game. It was the first half, especially early in that game, where the offense looked really good. solid, and the defense couldn't buy a stop. I think you clean up your defense. You missed a lot of tackles last week against UAB. You kind of sharpen up there, and I think you have a really good shot against this North Texas team. Like you mentioned, the rush defense, we could see Blake Watson and Sutton Smith both have really big days tomorrow.
And really get the ground game going that keeps your defense off the field, and then it opens up the passing game for Seth Hennigan. But Seth Hennigan, he's been good. Maybe we're just not ever going to get that breakout next level. Maybe this is what he is.
Yeah, it could be. We talked about it a couple days ago. It is pretty good. I think if this was just something that we haven't seen since he was a freshman, I think the talk around him would be much different. But I think we saw him as a freshman, and he was playing about this level, maybe slightly less than this level, and we said, oh, man, this guy is really good as a freshman, and I think there's some people that will knock him for kind of not making those next steps. But you're right. I mean, still a very good quarterback, and has made some really big plays when the Tigers have needed him to make plays this year.
He has, and hopefully the best football for him is ahead, because with this win at 6-2 next week against South Florida, with any kind of weather break, I just hope a good crowd would receive this team back. But we might be at the point where it's just the diehards, and again, every time we refer to them, you don't want to do anything to besmirch them. Thank you to them.
Absolutely.
Just need more of you.
Just need more. Yeah. And so, after tomorrow, if you can get out of Denton with a win, I think for him, I think you could see him have a pretty big game. I think you'll see a lot of his family, his friends there, as he grew up in that area just right down the road. So maybe a big game tomorrow, you get out of there with a win, and then 4 games left, 2 at home, 2 on the road. I think all very winnable games. I think the biggest question mark is that game a little later on in November against SMU, which is a home game. But I think if you can, take care of North Texas, beat USF, beat Charlotte on the road, you come back against SMU, I think you're still in the conversation for a shot at the AAC championship game. And I think you need a massive crowd there for SMU.
Massive crowd being what?
Well, if you look
45 plus.
I don't know if a game against SMU this year would pull that.
And some variables, weather and things, but
maybe around 40, 42.
Okay, I'm with you there. And talking about a team that's getting ready to be 10-2.
Yeah,
where did we get? How did we get so hard to please?
I guess that's what I think Dave said. If they win tomorrow, it'll be 10 straight years of going to a bowl game.
That's terrific.
For a lot
of people.
It's unbelievable. And so I think that's kind of where it comes from. And I think seeing what the top teams in the American have done these past years, I think missing out on some of these conference, expansion talk has hurt a lot. And I think a lot of fans just want Tigers to be up there at the top. And I think anything short of domination is looked at as a disappointment.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too hard to please.
No, not at all. Not at all. This team has played well and looking to make it 2 in a row tomorrow against North Texas. So it should be a fun game tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. I'm really, really looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app, or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes, my shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. I work hard for my money, and I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. Stop being cheap, it's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value, exceptional service, and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, Memphis's direct diamond importer at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
I'm Georgios. I'm the co-founder of Nutrafol. My hair started to thin. I took a pharmaceutical drug, but I suffered from sexual dysfunction. Having to choose between my hair and my health was not really a great choice. Nutrafol, the _1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. Keep growing at Nutrafol.com/men. That's Nutrafol.com/men.
These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Paid for by Nutraceutical Wellness, Inc.
Hey, Mid-South, you looking for a new ride that'll save you some big bucks? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. A new ride that boosts 41 mpg highway and 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. How about 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV? 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus a free charger with your EV purchase. All 36-month leases and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, Forte PE $678, $6055, MSRP $21,610, Nero P5017859, MSRP $41,090, EV6 P5017859, MSRP $49,687. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/23 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Did you know gas goes bad in as little as 30 days? Bad gas can cause rough starts, poor performance, or no starts at all. Stable, America's #1 fuel stabilizer, ensures quick and easy starts after storage. Stable's proprietary formula keeps fuel fresh for 2 years, outperforming competitors. Whether it's your car, truck, boat, lawnmower, leaf blower, weed trimmer, ATV, motorcycle, or anything else with an engine, when you store, start with Stable.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, my big number is an NFL big number today in honor of the weekend and another NFL weekend. My big number is 150. This comes from Andrew Siciliano from NFL Network. Puka Nacua had 154 receiving yards in Week 7, becoming the first Rams rookie to record multiple games of 150-plus yards. Only once, out of all the other rookie receivers, only one receiver has done that in the last 2 seasons. One time, just recorded one game with more than 150 yards, and that is Garrett Wilson. What Puka Nacua has done this year has been remarkable for the Rams. Now they've got Cooper Kupp back in there, and really this wide receiver group could be really, really good. And a receiver that nobody really talked about. Nobody really knew who this guy was until a couple weeks in the season. He's having this great start to the season, and he's continuing to do that. So really fun to watch him out there for the Rams.
And Bruce Marshall picked the Rams to beat the Cowboys. I know you'll go against the Rams in that weird, cockeyed sense of you can't be upset that way. Stay tuned for my pick when we get to Friday football forecast on the Cowboys at home on Sunday against the Rams. My number's a real big one, 4.93 million.
That is a big number.
That's the number of viewers that Florida State has averaged this year.
Wow.
With 6 straight games broadcast on ABC, and I think tomorrow will be a 7th. FSU averaging 4.93 million viewers. They're back, but on the road tomorrow for the first time in October, and this is what it's looked like for Mike Norvell and his team on the road this year. Just stole one at Clemson in overtime on the road at Clemson. They were fortunate to win on the road at Boston College.
Yeah.
Remember back in September, 31-29. Any chance for Wake Forest getting a gob of points tomorrow to pull the straight-up upset in Winston-Salem?
I don't think so, but I've seen crazier things happen. I think if you had asked me last Friday, is there any chance Virginia takes all of these points and beats North Carolina, I would have said no chance, and they did it. So
that's probably the blockbuster of the year, isn't it?
It probably is, and as sad as it is, it was on the CW. So
yeah, well, right in there, I turned it on there, and all I saw was Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. I didn't see any. I saw Liv when I flipped it to it, but yeah. So
well,
I guess Liv.
You didn't even mean to watch Liv, huh?
No, I didn't. I flipped it over, and there it was, Liv Golf. But no, I mean, I love what Mike Norvell has done. Really, I bring this up all the time. I mean, we seem to forget that just a couple of years ago they were trying to run him out of town at Florida State, and
got off to a rough start,
really rough start. And it wasn't just on the field. There were some players that were coming out and saying they didn't really like what he was doing with the program, but he's really turned it around. Everyone seems super bought in, and this team's fun to watch. And so I'm rooting for him. I know there's a lot of Tiger fans out there that are maybe weren't happy that he left when he left, but are still rooting for him to succeed at Florida State. I'm definitely one of them, and it's really fun to watch his team.
Out of the top 25, what would constitute Earthquake Saturday? 3 or north, straight up upsets of top 25 teams?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Three or more.
Could we get there with Wake? Could we get there with Kansas at home over Oklahoma?
Could.
Cocktail party, BYU at Texas, Oregon at Utah, Pitt at Notre Dame.
You could. A road game for Pitt kind of scares me. Pitt, I
say be careful Tulane tomorrow at Rice.
Oh, yeah. Rice has surprised some teams. Brett, I have not talked about Pittsburgh all week. Last week, I forgot who they were playing. But Pittsburgh had the game won. Maybe Wake Forest. It might have been Wake Forest. Now I think it was Wake Forest.
Yes.
Pitt had the game won. I think they were playing a backup quarterback, had the game won. They're trying to run out the clock on 4th down. They roll to the left, or maybe it was 3rd down. They roll to the left. The quarterback scrambles, gets out of there. He slides past the 1st down, gets up, gives the old arm 1st down. Let's run that clock out, and it's over. and they said he started his slide before he got past the line to gain,
Brian,
and they called him down.
It is happening, and the Ole Miss coaching staff, they're telling Jackson Dart, they don't mind him going in a slide, but they're almost spotting it where they think you're thinking about starting the slide.
They are.
And if you can get a little more, if you'll notice in the second half last week, Dart went head first because they're not calling head first where you start it. It's where the knee first hit.
Yeah.
If you start head first. But if you're starting that slide and kind of going rear end first, man, it's a couple yards back from what you really think you're getting out of it.
No, you're absolutely right because, he pops up, and once he realized that they were calling him down, he looks confused. They ran the replay back a couple of times. I think that game was on ACC Network.
Tragic.
And I was watching, I was going, man, maybe he started a little early, but it was about at the at the sticks, give it to him. So you're right. It really does. They kind of watch those defenders come in and goes, okay, he's definitely thinking about getting down now. Let's call him down right now, and it definitely hurt him it hurt Pittsburgh, and they lost that game. So I don't know. I like that one though. We could see a lot of updates. I know you mentioned that earlier about this weekend kind of being that weekend, so we shall see. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot of Grizzlies. We're going to talk some Ole Miss Rebels. Gary Darby, he's next.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Go where the season takes you, and it'll take you to huge savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Be packed with power in 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. 37 MPG combined, $18,755 or $199 a month. Ready for adventure? 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $25,595 or $299 a month. Plus 7 seating and top safety pick 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV, $32,185 or $399 a month. And every new Gossett Mitsubishi is equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 24 months, 500 military rebate, loyalty, conquest rebate, 500, G4, RHFO 1918, MSRP 19255, Sport, PU 015 137, MSRP 26595, Outlander RZ 006545, MSRP 33185, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Get back to the grind with your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 6 p.m. when they host the Denver Nuggets. Arrive early to check out the 191 Collabs pop-up shop presented by Hennessy. Get ready for a star-studded show and secure your tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP or visiting Grizzlies.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's moving better than it was 40 eastbound around Warford, where we had that crazy-looking wreck a little while ago. It's busy out here right now on 240 as you get onto 385. It remains heavy at times out here on 40 east, let's say from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway, as that traffic really starts to build on 40 east, continuing out towards Fayette County. Hey, if you get hurt in a car crash, call 901 Attorneys right here in the Memphis area. Check out their website at 901attorneys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and joining us now to talk some Grizzlies, to talk some Rebels. Gary Darby from the Grizzlies Network, the Ole Miss Radio Network, and also the host of the Rebel Yell Hotline. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with the Grizzlies. They're back in action tonight against the Denver Nuggets. What did you make of that first game against the New Orleans Pelicans without Steven Adams in there, who will miss the entire season, and then tonight's game against the Nuggets?
Yeah, and then, in the week you get the Santi Aldama news too, and so you're without two of those bigs. And I think that's obviously going to play even bigger in the one tonight that you're talking about against Denver. Look, early in that game, Grizzlies had open threes, and they just couldn't knock them down, and the Pelicans got hot. From one point, I think they were 8 of 16 at one point, right? And the game just kind of flipped because both teams got open shots, and the Grizzlies just didn't knock theirs down. And, oh, by the way, Luke Kennard gets in the concussion protocol, so you just add another one there. It's not the most optimal starts, and you knew anyway, right? 3 games, 4 days to open it up. The Pelicans with a healthy Zion Williamson, the defending champs, and a quick road trip to D.C. It wasn't going to be easy, but with all the injuries and Ja's suspension, it's an 82-game season. Let's remember that.
That's right, Gary, and Brian and I both really did try to practice the patience yesterday. A lot of people aren't, and that's a good thing too, Gary. I mean, we waited for so long to go to opening night, and tickets good tickets for sure, close to impossible. We waited for so long to have our superstar player, Ja Morant. I don't want to lecture the fans about squeezing the team too tight and maybe having a freak out factor, because Gary, we saw it for a lot of years. We wanted somebody to care, much less freak out.
That's true. And even in the, core 4 years, opening night everywhere for the Grizzlies has always been bad, seemingly, right? I mean, the win-loss record, that is.
Yeah.
There was, a big build-up to this. I get it. Excitement now, back-to-back seasons where you've won over 50. Expectations are a good thing. Brett, you and I talk about that on different versions of sports and the places that we are. And, you want those expectations, and then you got to go and try and meet those. And I know that the fans, expect them to win them all. That's not going to happen. But, look, you got to see Marcus Smart for the first time in the Grizzly uniform in a meaningful game, and the ovation for Derrick Rose was great. And just unfortunately now you lost that first one to the Pelicans, and you got to try and do whatever you can do tonight against Denver.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gary, one of my favorite things kind of through this offseason, through training camp, through the preseason to kind of follow has been all the excitement around Zaire Williams and kind of what the fans have been saying, what the team has been saying about his jump that he can make this year. What have you thought about what he did during the preseason, started in that first game? What do you think about him coming into this season?
We've talked about it on some of the pregame shows, the road games that I'm involved in, as to how sometimes you can really see from year one to year two in a professional league or a college league for that matter. Because, to be quite honest, when we get to the Ole Miss discussion, we're seeing that with Jackson Dart, I believe, the quarterback. From year one to year two, some guys can just make that leap. The game slows down a little bit. Everything just kind of falls in place, and I think it looks like it has for Zaire. He said early on that starting position was his. He was going to go get it. He was going to prove that he deserved it, and I like what I see so far. But again, you got to have him put it together for multiple times, but right now he looks like he's that athletic wing guy, can take it on the dribble, can spot up and shoot, can defend and do those things that you need that wing guy to do with Jaren Jackson, whoever takes control of that center spot, and then, the guards as they play. I like it. And one thing that I do like is, he's a guy that when was drafted, people scratched their heads a little bit all across the country, but he's never had a lack of confidence. Even when it wasn't going well for him, I think Zaire's always believed in himself, and I think that's what's showing, at least through the preseason and now, one NBA game.
Gary, I love going for those box score nuggets in college football, running the ball, both of us, third down conversion rate. And this year, especially with the Steven Adams void all year, and right now with Sante as well, the rebounding, it's going to be big. And the other night was the vicious cycle of the Grizzlies heaving a lot of threes, missing them, and not able to chase down the ball and get a rebound.
Yeah, because the big Kiwi would grab all those, right, or the majority of them if he was.
He sure would.
And and Jaren is not a guy that's typically going to go out and rebound you 15 a night, 10 a night. He's going to get you some, but he needs that other guy in there because a lot of times on the defensive end, he's there to protect and the rim and swat and maybe out of position to rebound, and that's to me where the Grizzlies missed that through the end of the regular season last year, and what you're going to see is the big thing you missed from Steven. Yes, the screens that he set, the way that he could pass the ball, but the way he could rebound it on either end. He might get him an easy look or get someone else an easy look on the offensive side, or he would grab that defensive board, the outlet pass, and get you on the run. I don't know, if Santi can do that when he's in, if X is the guy that can do that. They've got to get those guys when they're in there to concentrate on that. That's where you need to go, and that's just grab every rebound you can get.
Talking about Steven Adams, I've heard a lot of people ever since that injury was announced talking about kind of the different options the Grizzlies have now that he's injured for the entire season, maybe going out free agency. There's some exemptions out there. You could go and make a trade. What do you see, if anything, the Grizzlies doing with Steven Adams out the entire season?
Yeah, I wish I knew, right? I wish I was in the room, little fly on the wall, to know what they were saying and thinking along the way. If it's stay with the status quo and you run with what you have, Kenny Lofton Jr. maybe getting a few minutes, 5-6 minutes somewhere in that mix, or if they do use some of those options, whether it's mid-level or go make the trade, the exemption, or the things that they have to bring in, because I think there are some teams out there that would make a deal. The issue is what you have to give, right? And I think that's where they're thinking, and over the long haul, they've been pretty good with all of this. And I don't think they're going to just drastically say, oh, we've got to go do something. They've never, to me, been that, right? They've done what they thought was necessary to get the team better. like last deadline, they went and got a shooter and Luke Kennard, and that's where things went. So I don't know if it'll be something major. You know, the names have all been bounced around out there. Hopefully, you know, if Aldama gets healthy, they may try and see what happens with him in that spot, maybe, and then go from there.
Gary, the other night, I think the moment of the night, you touched on it, the introduction, and the first time Derrick Rose went to the scores table. But I loved his reaction post-game and Desmond Bain reaction post-game, coming off the big moment for Rose and the big game for Desmond Bain. We're not here for moments. We're here for games. I still like the eye of the tiger look for this team, even though been waylaid with the Steven Adams news.
Sure. I mean, you know, it's been, you know, I mentioned earlier the back-to-back seasons where they finished second in the West and the 50-plus wins, but the postseason hasn't gotten where they wanted, and natural progression, right? And for Des Bain, what is he thinking? Jaren Jackson, what are they thinking now in years 4 and 5 and where they are in their career? It's not just be in the playoffs, not just get to the second round. It's time to win games and get on past. And if you're at Derrick Rose's portion of his career, which is, you know, what's left is to be seen. He said it, right? Didn't come to Memphis to babysit. He didn't come to Memphis just to get a standing ovation. He came to Memphis to be a part of a winning organization and win basketball games. Marcus Smart is that same guy. Marcus Smart knows what it's like to get to finals and to play in those things. And he was glad to play in the opener, but that's not what he wanted either. And I like that, Brett. I mean, you know, fans have the expectations, but nobody, I think, expects more than the guys themselves. And you know, they knew with a better overall shooting performance that they could have won that opener a couple of nights ago, and that's the goal. Not there's nothing as far as emotion and it was nice. That's all good, but in the end, we're all about putting things in that left-hand column, winning games and being one of the last teams to stand. That's what those guys are thinking, and you guys have been around sports enough to know the competitiveness in the players on that level. It's unmatched. When they get to that professional level, they have one thing and one thing only, and that's to take care of business and win games. And I like to see that for sure.
I do too. Gary Darby, our guest. You can hear him tomorrow with me starting at 4:30. We'll be in the Grove for Ole Miss pregame, and you hear him on the Grizzlies radio network as well, and also on Monday nights with the Rebel Yell Hotline. If I go through everywhere you can hear Gary Darby, we're going to go to about 7:30 tonight, and we don't have that much time. I literally just got an email from some guy named Gary Darby with the rundown tomorrow night for the Ole Miss pregame show. Gary, It is impressive how you handle it all, and with little bitty children.
Yeah, remind me of that one, why don't you? Yeah. Because there's the 9 to 10 a.m. show that is in North Mississippi as well.
Right.
But once September kicked in, like until Ole Miss's football season's over, there is a radio show or a game every day. And, of course, Brett, as you know, the one time that there might not be a game, which is on Sundays, I coach baseball in a fall league, which really has my wife very happy. That the one possible rest day is not that for a couple of more weeks also. But I wouldn't have it any other way. It's not a job. I put headphones on and can talk about whatever it is. And then, you know, join guys like you on shows and talk sports again and have fun with it. It's been a lucky, long career for me to do these kinds of things.
What did we do to deserve, though, in our lives with all these West things? SEC West, NBA Western Division. How did we get all these tough Wild Wild West?
I don't know, and I am going to be interested if the NBA does expand, right?
Yeah.
The two are Western cities, how that affects things.
Give me East. Get rid of divisions in SEC football. Fine.
Correct. Yeah. And so, but you're right, it's always been in the West. And look, I grew up, you know, in that Major League Baseball world where the Cincinnati Reds were actually in the West, buddy.
I've tried to explain this to Bryant. Once upon a time, the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds' biggest rival were the Dodgers. It's hard to explain,
right.
Gary.
100%. Yeah. So we have fallen into that Western Division in a lot of things.
Yeah, different world when the Braves and the Dodgers were rivals. Good Lord!
Trust us, both of us aren't lying to you. I may fib to you at times, Bryant, but Darb won't.
I believe both of y'all. For this Grizzlies team, Gary, I think me and Brett have talked about it. You mentioned it earlier. I mean, everybody knew that these first two games were going to be hard, regardless of injuries or anything. I mean, New Orleans last year, before they suffered some injuries, they were one of the top 3 teams in the West, and then the Nuggets obviously coming off of the championship last year. The schedule gets a little easier after this game, and I think we'll see kind of this true Grizzlies teams in the next 3 or 4 games.
I think you're right, but then you got the difficulty, right? They get done tonight, you get on a plane, you get to D.C.
Oh, man.
You lose and lose an hour to do it and play. And so that's the thing that sometimes people forget in this NBA grind. It's a quick plane flight, do something, go. I get it. They're professionals. It's their job. It's what they do, and obviously they can do it, and it's not as hard on their body as it would be on poor old Darb here. But the schedule will hopefully work its way out. Hopefully you'll get a couple of pieces healthy with Luke and with Aldama and get them back. And let's get into the flow of this thing, right? Because Marcus Smart really hasn't been with these guys a lot. You got to get him working in there, in that flow of things, and see how it all goes. And, look, the one thing that I learned, it took a little while coming from, a college situation for a while where you've got 28 regular season games to know that there's 82 to realize, no, you don't want to open up 0-2 or 0-3, or you don't even want to be 1-2. By the end of this weekend, but you have time to make it up in an 82-game schedule. I know fans don't want to hear that either. But, you do have that possibility. The thing is, you got to do everything you can do, get job back, get in here after 25 games, and then, make that big push. And again, we've talked about it, and I think the big thing lies around what happens with that center position more than anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Gary Darby with us, and tomorrow Ole Miss will play Vanderbilt, and then after that it's Texas A&M at home, and then on the road at Georgia, Lou Monroe in Oxford, and then Thanksgiving night in Starkville against Mississippi State. Coach Lane Kiffin's always about one game at a time, 1-0 this week. Well, that's for the coaches and the coaching staff. The fans, after last week, it's dreaming time, and doing W's and L's the rest of the way. But I tell everyone, remember last year, 8-1, and then that collapse at the end of the year. But Gary, where do you think Ole Miss fans are? This going to be a good year? This going to be a great year? This going to be a magic carpet ride? Could this be this year's version of TCU? Where do you think most are?
All are already wondering if it's going to be 2:30 in Athens, with Georgia on for like 4 straight weeks on CBS, or will ESPN say, look, Herb Street and the number 1 team is going to call the game at 6 o'clock in Athens, because they've already penciled in Ole Miss winning tomorrow. They've already penciled in Ole Miss winning at 11 a.m. next week against A&M and having a top 10 matchup in Athens, GA. They just want to know what time it is and feel like they got a shot. If Bowers is out and doesn't come back, look, the Ole Miss people that I've talked to, I mean, Brett, they're looking that huge picture. And you were doing it last year too, right? When you were sitting there going into the Alabama game, they were all, we were doing the same thing. And I don't know, I think we should all agree that tomorrow Ole Miss should win the game against Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. And then you see what happens against Texas A&M before you, to me, really start, worrying about Athens and worrying about what it could be. But, there is a path. There is a road. It's curvy, but there's possibilities there. And I think, as a fan, it's hard not to look at that and think what you could be. Because if you look at the rest of the schedule, except for that Georgia game, Ole Miss is going to be favored in all of those games and maybe favored by touchdown or so in all those games. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would.
Yes.
And I don't think the Georgia, they will be favored, but I don't think it's going to be 12 or 13. I don't think it'll be double digits at all.
No, not like it is. And I know the Florida, it's in Jacksonville or whatever, but I don't think it'll be anything like that or or any of the others. I think it'll be, could be wrong, a single-digit deal, unless Ole Miss does slip up against A&M and lose that game. But as you and I, know and sitting and watching, the difference in that Ole Miss team that lost those games at the end, and we've said it almost all year long, there's not that superstar guy on defense. There's not that one, quote, he's going to make a difference by himself in the game.
That's your game plan around.
They're deep, right. They're deeper, I think, on both sides of the ball, but especially defensively, where they're rotating double-digit guys in on the defensive line. They're rotating guys in and out on all of the spots. And so in the fourth quarter, whereas last year we were talking about how they were, barely outscoring the opponent in the fourth quarter, they're doubling the opponent point total in the fourth quarter. And that's why they've won games that they might not have won last year, like at Tulane, like beating LSU, beating Arkansas, maybe even that Auburn game. They probably wouldn't have won those 4 and even a year ago. But I think that's because they're a little bit deeper in what they can do. And that's why I think we're all looking a little bit as to what could be if this all holds true.
Yeah, well, it should be a fun game for the Rebels tomorrow against Vanderbilt. But, Gary, thank you so much for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
Certainly. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Gary Darby with us, and I will be with him tomorrow at 4:30 from the Grove as we come on there then, and then 6:30 for kickoff. And really looking forward to being with Gary Darby, the busiest guy in the world right now, with the crossover time of year. Every Friday, every day at this time, our sponsors, Hewlett Dunn. Last Friday, we had Charles Hall with us. It was so fun to visit with Charles and his team at Hewlett Dunn, Boot and Jean on the historic square in Collierville, what they're doing, what they've done, and what Charles and Laura, what they've accomplished. Charles started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team for any season. And we're going to need a good jacket next week, and that's the place to get it, is at Hewlett Dunn. Western wear, work boots, safety toe or soft toe, they've got them. Rubber boots, boots for every occasion at Hewlett Dunn. From head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable. Dan Post, Anderson Bean, Ariat, whether for men or for women, they've got it. Men's and women's clothing, jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duckhead collection you'll find in those great Filson jackets. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to come by and visit with them and look at it decorated for the Christmas season on the Collierville Square at 111 North Center Street. It looks like something out of Currier and Ives out in Collierville. Or go to HewlettDunn.com. Hats, sunglasses, boot care products, and every area team snapback. They've reordered all the cool hats you can think of. Razorbacks, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Tigers, Mississippi State, Grizzlies, and for travel season, the bag selection, it's top notch at Hewlett Dunn. Go to HewlettDunn.com, but better yet, get by 111 North Center Street and visit them on the square in Collierville at Hewlett and Dunn. Bryant, right now, if you just had to do W's and L's for Ole Miss the rest of the way, what would you give it, Vandy, tomorrow? Like we do in all that August picking. What would you give for tomorrow?
A W, for sure.
A&M at home in Oxford.
W.
Georgia in Athens.
L.
Lou Monroe in Oxford.
W.
Mississippi State in Starkville Thanksgiving night.
W, but easily could be L.
I'm with you on every, even on the reluctance on some. I'm with you on that. That would just be a great year. That's 10-2, 9-3, and that would be 2 out of 3 regular seasons, 10-2 for Lane Kiffin as head coach at Ole Miss. And last year, just collapsed down the stretch. Sure. That would be a great year, and people can dream. I'm dreaming a little about Athens, but Gary's right. Take your A&M before you do too much dreaming.
Absolutely. One step at a time, one game at a time for Ole Miss. But you're right. There's got to be that out there. I'm curious for you, how much being around fans down there in Oxford before games, after games, how much do you hear talk about what happened last year, that absolute, just like the collapse of last year, and people kind of saying, man, I don't know, this year could be like last year. This is what we did last year before the collapse. How much do you hear that?
I hear it a lot. I think people were burned by that last year.
Yeah.
Kind of were bracing for that to happen down the stretch in 2021, and it didn't. And then it happened last year. So now, show me rather than tell me. I don't think there are many people. I don't know anybody talking college football playoffs. And when I've made the TCU comparisons, every time I've asked it in question form, why not?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Why not? I mean, and I think again, like you said, Texas A&M first, but that Georgia game, you circle that one, and if something happens there, I mean,
and free shot.
It's a completely different conversation about this Ole Miss team than what we're having right now.
Yeah, and it's been on the right side of some good breaks and getting healthier. And I said it earlier in the week to somebody, I can't remember who. I think at this point in the year, everybody would just pray for it. Give me good luck.
Yeah.
Give me no injuries.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think everyone can agree on that. Good luck and no injuries, and you should be able to find some success. But let's go ahead and get to a break, because on the other side, we've got to make our picks during the First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Go where the season takes you, and it'll take you to huge savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Be packed with power in 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. 37 MPG combined, $18,755 or $199 a month. Ready for adventure? 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $25,595 or $299 a month. Plus 7 seating and top safety pick 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV, $32,185 or $399 a month. And every new Gossett Mitsubishi is equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, 500 military rebate, loyalty conquest rebate 500, G4, RHFO 1918, MSRP 19255, Sport, PU 015 137, MSRP 26595, Outlander RZ 006545, MSRP 33185, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Here we grow again. Metro Builders is accepting applications for project manager, sales, and even a couple of crew openings. Visit MetroBuildersMemphis.com today to inquire about our openings. We are an equal opportunity employer, drug-free workplace, and are growing rapidly at our Memphis office. Metro Builders is looking for team players that want to learn and grow in the construction industry. We're a roof and restoration company. If you have a huge drive, want to earn a great living, and enjoy working with an enthusiastic team, call Metro Builders today at 901-375-1717.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Hey, in New York, right now I'm looking at all of the unders for Jets' offensive numbers. Passing yards, touchdowns, receiving yards. I'm looking at all of the unders in New York. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win, FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck, because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle all-in-one, huge deals, and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Get back to the grind with your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 6 p.m. when they host the Denver Nuggets. Arrive early as the first 3,000 will receive a Hustle Schedule magnet. Get ready for a star-studded show and secure your tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP or visiting Grizzlies.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Looks like the interstate's starting to slow down out there in Fayette County on 40 westbound around the 35-mile marker. An accident may have just occurred because the interstate's really starting to slow. Again, that's coming towards Memphis on 40 going westbound in Fayette County. Traffic's still a bit crowded on 240s. Get on to 385. Still a clear shot right now on Billmore Parkway as you continue out towards Collierville. Hey, if you get hurt in a car crash, call 901 Attorneys right here in Memphis. They're online. Check them out at 901attorneys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Bill Samish, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763, or the office in Collierville, or online at fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you. They're a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I have had an account, been a friend, and been a customer my entire life.
Two great offices now in West Tennessee and growing, in one great place to do business. First National Bank and Trust in West Tennessee, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, since 1886, stable, secure, solid, reliable, consistent, and customer confidence. Just amazing what they have built and will build through the years. We start with the Tigers, Bryant, 2 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN+. Memphis laying the big 7.5 on the road at North Texas. Remember, North Texas played Tulane really closely last week, 35-28, I think, 17-4 all-time the Tigers over North Texas. The Mean Green, 13 300-yard games for Seth Hennigan. He's tied with Riley Ferguson for most in Tigers football history. North Texas head coach Eric Morrison is the 7th youngest at 37 in FBS. It's crowded at 37, but trust me, it works down to 7th youngest. Homecoming for North Texas. They've won 6 straight homecomings. 40,000 the enrollment at North Texas. Tigers laying 7.5. Proud Tiger graduate Bryant Dacus.
I'm going to go with the Tigers here. I liked them last week against UAB. I think North Texas is a very similar team to UAB. Offensively, they're explosive, they're exciting, but defensively, they leave a lot to be desired. They are dead last in the FBS in allowed rushing yards per game. They give about 255-ish, which is dead last in FBS. And so I think Blake Watson. We talked about it earlier.
Here comes Blake Watson.
Exactly. Blake Watson, Sutton Smith. I think a big game for both of those guys, and I think the Tigers can roll here. You just need your defense. We talked about it earlier. You need the defense to step up, unlike what it did last week against UAB. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I think a big day potentially for Seth Hennigan with his wheels in both the run-pass option offense. I said Tiger graduate. You're a proud University of Memphis graduate.
That's right.
The Tigers go with that. Give me Memphis. I'm going to lay the 7.5 as well. 2:30, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. 101st meeting, 91st in Jacksonville, Florida, 22-11 back to 1990. Guess what happened in 1990? Steve Spurrier arrived as the head ball coach, and they've been 22-11 since. Graham Mertz, 76% completed passes this year. Much better Graham Mertz at Florida than at Wisconsin. I always will say they're playing at the Gator Bowl. 24-game winning streak for the Dogs, 36-1 in their last 37. Give me Georgia. Lay the 14.5. Give me Georgia 35-17. And I forgot to give my score for the Tigers, 34-13 for the Memphis Tigers. Cocktail party, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with Florida. I don't know what to think about this Georgia team without Brock Bowers, and they've just looked a little lazy in some of these games. It looks like they know they're the number one team, and that these opponents don't give them much of a test. And you've seen teams that should not cover against them cover. With this being a rivalry game, throw the records out. I think it's a close one, and I think Florida stays within that 14.5.
2:30 on SEC Network. Last week it was Ole Miss visiting the Plains. This week it's Mississippi State at Jordan-Hare Stadium. 2:30 kick. Auburn a 6.5-point favorite. 65-29-2 all time. Auburn 8-6 in the last 14. Auburn 28-1 since start of 2013 season when they score a non-offensive touchdown. Mike Wright became the 18th different starting quarterback last week in the SEC in their 11 o'clock game. And then in the 6:30 game, Robbie Ashford became the 19th different starting quarterback in the SEC last week. Jet Johnson and Nathaniel Watson, they picked up this year right where they left off last year. The senior duo finished last year first and second on the team in tackles, and that's where they are this year. Auburn minus 6.5 over Mississippi State. Brian, it's your pick.
I'm going to go with Auburn here. I still don't know if Will Rogers is going to start tomorrow or not, or if he'll play at all. If he does, how banged up will he be? If Mike Wright's back there, I really do like Mike Wright, but he didn't give you a ton last week against Arkansas, and so I'm going to go with Auburn here. Minus 6.5. Maybe they can win by a touchdown, but this one really could be a close one.
Our second group lock. We had the Tigers and the Tigers, Memphis Tigers and the Auburn Tigers. Give me Auburn as well. This year in college football, we're 9-9 when we both agree on the pick. 6 o'clock on ESPN. Tennessee 4.5-point road favorite at Kroger Field at Kentucky. Tennessee leads the series all time 83-26-9. They've won 4 of the last 5 since 1996. Tennessee has scored 45 points or more 11 times versus Big Blue. This is the 50th year of Kroger Field, opened as Commonwealth Stadium, but where they play in Lexington. Very, very nice field. Kentucky win makes them bowl eligible for a school record 8th straight year. Tennessee laying the 4.5. Your Friday football forecast is?
Tennessee minus 4.5. I just haven't been sold with this Kentucky team. I know Tennessee lost last week to Alabama, but really looked good in that first half. I think if they can put it all together this week against Kentucky, they get there.
Okay, I'm going to take Kentucky plus the points, but Tennessee to win the game narrowly. Last second game, 23-21. 2 weeks in a row you've taken Tennessee. We'll see if it's 2 weeks in a row for Ole Miss. This for sure will get you locked out of the house with your mom and dad. If you take Tennessee and Ole Miss 2 weeks in a row, we shall see. 6:30 tomorrow night on SEC Network. Bryant playing to stay in the house. Ole Miss minus 24.5 over Vanderbilt. 98th meeting between those two. Not scheduled for anywhere next year, though. Third most played series in the Ole Miss world. State and LSU 1-2. 55-40 with 2 ties. 18-2 playing Vandy on homecoming, and that's what it is tomorrow in Oxford. Ole Miss, one of 10 teams nationally with 2 AP top 25 wins. Will Shepard, the great wide receiver for Vanderbilt, 8 touchdowns, 574 yards receiving for Vanderbilt. I'm going to take Vanderbilt plus the 24.5, and I mean thread the needle. Ole Miss wins 48-24, and I get there by half. Your pick.
Oh, anchor down. I'm taking Vandy, a massive number against Ole Miss, 24.5. And I was looking at this earlier today. Vanderbilt, although they haven't covered a ton, especially this year, they've only covered once, and it was this past weekend, or their last game against Georgia 2 weeks ago. While they haven't covered a lot, the last 2 years, I think when a spread is 20 or more points, the only time they haven't covered that spread was once. So they've been pretty good when the number is so high, at least keeping it kind of respectable to an extent. So I'll take Vanderbilt here. I really like this new young quarterback they've got in there as their backup. I guess not young; he's been there for a while, but playing backup, Ken Seals. That's right. I think he looks really good. He's a very steady player. So I think they can keep it somewhat close and cover the spread.
I like your analysis, and we're pretty in consensus on that one. In fact, a lock. I have Vandy plus the 24.5. You as well. Tomorrow night, 6:30 on NBC. Saturday night on NBC. College football. Ohio State minus 14.5 at Wisconsin. Luke Fickell against his alma mater. First time for Buckeyes in Camp Randall Stadium in 8 years. Ohio State with 9 straight over Wisconsin in the series, though. Buckeyes lead all time 62-18-5. Luke Fickell against his alma mater. Former Ohio State players historically against the Buckeyes, 5-18-1. He makes it 6-18-1. Straight up Wisconsin with the upset of the year in college football. We've been waiting on them. We talked earlier about it. It's been a fun year, but kind of a predictable year. Tomorrow night in Madison, Wisconsin, they beat Ohio State. Your pick.
OH. I'm going with Ohio State in this one. There you go. I like this.
I know the drill here.
Yeah, you do. I like this Ohio State team. I know a lot of people say, kind of that eye test that they haven't really passed. A lot of injuries they've dealt with this year at some of their offensive positions. But, they have covered in games that they're supposed to cover. I know this will be a tough environment at Wisconsin. But I think coming off of that win against Penn State, I think closer game than they probably wanted, even though it was a top 25 versus top 25 showdown. I think they go out and try to get a big win against Wisconsin.
My college football shock first. Kansas straight up upset over Oklahoma. Give me that 10.5. Kansas wins straight up 41-35. My lock. Oregon minus 6.5 over Utah. Oregon wins 28-10. Your college football lock and shock.
My lock is going to be Oregon State minus 3.5 on the road against Arizona. We've forgotten about Oregon State, how good that Pac-12 has been. Oregon State's right there, a really good season they've played so far. Going on the road to Arizona should be tough, but I think they can cover that 3.5. My shock, I'm going to go with Duke plus the 6.5 against Louisville. We don't know if Riley Leonard is going to play yet. He's kind of day-to-day right now, but we saw Duke last week. Riley Leonard played most of that game against Florida State, and it seemed like the better team for parts of that game against Florida State. Now, when Riley Leonard left, that's when the tires started to fall off, but I do think this Duke defense is good enough to keep them in a game no matter if Riley Leonard is playing or not, so I'll take them plus 6.5 against Louisville.
NFL, noon on Sunday, Jacksonville minus 2.5 in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium, where the Allegheny, the Monongahela joined to form the Ohio near Old Three River Stadium. Jacksonville leads the all-time series 14-13. It's 12-13 regular season, but 2-0 Jags in the postseason. First meeting was 1995, a 20-16 win for the Jags. Neil O'Donnell versus Mark Brunell that day at quarterback. Pittsburgh wins on Sunday, 17-16. Give me the 2.5.
I love it. I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Steelers in this one. I told you earlier this week, before I knew what games we were picking, that if Pittsburgh was on there as a home dog, I'm taking them no matter what. No analysis, nothing here. I'm taking the Steelers at home. Hard to beat them on the road.
Noon on Fox at AT&T Stadium, Dallas minus 6.5 over the Rams. Dallas leads all-time 19-18, 15-13 regular season, 4-5 in postseason. They first met in 1960. The Cowboys were an expansion team. 38-13 that day for the Rams over the expansion Cowboys. Frank Ryan at quarterback against Dandy Don Meredith, more famous for Monday Night Football, but a great quarterback in the day at SMU and for the Cowboys. All right, Bryant, turn on your Cowboys. Go ahead, pick the Rams.
No, I'm not doing it. Give me Dallas minus 6.5. I have no reason. Go boys.
I'll be glad to do it. Rams straight up 23-20. With the win over the Cowboys. 325 on CPS. San Francisco minus 3.5 over Cincinnati at Levi Stadium, where Super Bowl 50 was held. These two teams have met twice in Super Bowls, with the 49ers getting narrow wins in both games. 5 points and 4 points, respectively, for Joe Montana over Cincinnati. 49ers lead 13-4 all-time, 11-4 regular season, and those two big Super Bowl wins in the postseason. First played against each other in 1974. Paul Brown was coach of the Bengals that day against Dick Nolan. The quarterbacks that day, Kenny Anderson for the Bengals and Joe Reed from Mississippi State. A Joe Reed mentioned today. Wow. Give me the Niners laying the 3.5, winning 24-20.
I'm going to go with Cincinnati here. There's so much uncertainty with this 49ers team now that Brock Purdy likely won't play out for that game on Sunday. I'm going to take Cincinnati here. I think San Francisco can still win this game, but I do like Cincinnati to at least keep it in that 3.5.
We are in hurry-up, no-huddle mode. Your lock and shot from the NFL.
For my lock, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks, -3.5 at home against the Browns. The Browns were lucky last week. They won against the Colts. I don't think they get lucky again against the Seahawks. And for my shock, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. Brett, I don't know if you've seen, they're rolling out the Oilers jerseys, the Oilers uniforms this weekend against the Falcons. I'm still not sold on this Atlanta team, so I'll take
Houston
the Titans.
Oilers or Tennessee Oilers? They've been both.
Great question. It doesn't matter. I'm taking the Titans or the Oilers, whatever you want to call them this Sunday, plus the 2.5 at home against the Falcons.
My NFL lock, Houston -3.5 at Carolina, and my NFL shock, New England plus the 9.5 against Miami. That's been our Friday football forecast, brought to you by our great friends at First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas for real estate, whether it's ag, commercial, hunting, recreational. Contact them at fnbt.com or call them at 901-498-5763.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. We'll wrap up the week with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
If you want a deal, get to Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, because we've got Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days still going strong. If you're looking to save up to $12,000 off a new ride, we Gossett covered. Right now, take your pick. 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Summit 4-wheel drive or 2023 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon 4x4, $12,000 off MSRP. And 2023 Wagoneer L Series 111 4x4, $10,000 off MSRP. And if we don't have what you're looking for, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Wagoneer PS5 64,158, MSRP 117,430. Cherokee P88 76 88.9, MSRP 80,205. Gladiator PL 509 834, MSRP 68,815. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and licensee. Dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, Mid-South, you looking for a new ride that'll save you some big bucks? We Gossett at Gossett Kia on the Pike. A new ride that boosts 41 mpg highway and 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. How about 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV? 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus a free charger with your EV purchase. All 36 36-month leases and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, Forte PE $678,6055, MSRP $21,610, Nero P5017859, MSRP $41,090, EV6 P5017859, MSRP $49,687. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/23 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Once again, here are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive, and well, will you be there holding my hand?
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that the Memphis women's soccer team won again last night. They've been remarkable this season, 15-1 in the regular season as it came to an end last night with a 2-0 victory over Tulsa. The only loss this season was earlier in the year when they went down to Tuscaloosa and lost 2-1 to 7th ranked at the time Alabama. Right now, the women's team number 9 in the polls, the national poll. So a really good series or a season. But what I learned last night was for the first time in program history and the first time in AAC history, the Memphis women's soccer team finished with a perfect conference schedule. They were undefeated in conference play. It's the first time that has happened in conference play in the AAC, which is just remarkable. They'll now go to the tournament, which starts next Tuesday. They'll play UAB in the first round, the 1-8 game. That game will be at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So this Memphis women's team is really, really fun to watch. They're a great team, and I advise everyone Tuesday morning to go to ESPN Plus and check this team out if you haven't.
And the sign should say, we want Bama. We want a rematch.
Should. We want them.
Like all those signs at game day.
That's
we
right.
want Bama. What I learned game 1 of the World Series tonight, the Sunshine State, for sure with Texas and Arizona, and the retractable roofs could play from now until spring training. Why don't we just do that? Best of 19, whatever it takes. Third franchise for Bruce Bochy to lead to a World Series, 1998 Padres. Of course, those 3 titles with the Giants, 10, 12, and 14. And this year with the Rangers. First manager in baseball history to accomplish this. Starting pitchers when he was the manager of the Padres in the 98 World Series against the Yankees, it was a Yankee sweep. David Wells on the mound for the Yankees and Kevin Brown on the mound for the Padres. I think Kevin Brown's still pitching and has pitched for everyone. He is the immaculate grid of baseball.
I love it. I love it. What I could have done without, obviously, the Grizzlies about to tip off here in a couple of minutes against the Nuggets, an early tip here in Memphis against the Nuggets. But what I could have done without, we talked about it yesterday. We mentioned it a little earlier. But this injury report for the Grizzlies, it just seems like they continue to get banged up. Santi Aldama's still on there. Luke Kennard in concussion protocol will miss tonight. And also what I could have done without all of the overreactions on social media I've seen over these last couple of days about the injuries to this team, about Steven Adams missing the season. I've heard some people say that they should just try to make it through the season. What does that mean? This team is still a good team. They played one game, Brett. I mean, why are we making, let's just make it through the season. Let's just try to get through the season, and then we'll be fine next year. No, let's focus on this season. There are still really, really good players on this team, and I'm sure they'll find a way to make this team work, even though you don't have the rebounding of Steven Adams this year.
Well, I think we've reached the point, and it's what I could do without, because it's getting tougher to defend Michigan with more and more allegations coming out. And as I said earlier, strong rumor of one SEC East team that finished strongly last year doing some of the same stuff. You knew we had to get to another one, and it's going to be more and more. But that doesn't comfort Michigan because now they have NCAA on campus. They're going to have FBI on the way. And who will be next in the sign-stealing scandal? It's getting ready to be a big story, and it's no more kind of burying our heads in the sand about Michigan. I don't want to get too outraged over it, but it's from a nothing story that I thought would be about 2 days. We're now into about 5, or a week or so, rather.
Yeah, Brett, I want it to be a quick story, but I just don't think it will be. I think
Has it officially reached gate status? Is it Watergate? Is it Signgate? Is it Stealing Gate?
Michigate.
It's close.
It's really close, but I don't think this is going away, and we've talked about it all week. And I think it's because of the team that it's being accused of. Big Blue, Michigan. This isn't Charlotte who's being accused of sign stealing. This is one of the biggest brands in college football in Michigan, and for that reason, I don't think this is going away.
Where's G. Gordon Liddy when we need him to make it officially Watergate?
Exactly.
We never needed. I'm sorry, we never needed G. Gordon Liddy.
No, we didn't. Where are you beaming?
Right here to Oxford, to the best college town in the country for homecoming tomorrow at Ole Miss. Parade tonight, festivities, game tomorrow, 4:30 pregame. I'll be alongside our guest earlier, Gary Darby. Kickoff at 6:30 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 with David Kellum. On play-by-play, Harry Harrison as the analyst and John Darnell from the sidelines.
I'm going to beam to 2 places tonight. I'm going to do a little double doozy on the beam machine. I'm going to start off 6 p.m. tonight. George Mason versus West Virginia in a basketball exhibition. I want to see what this West Virginia basketball team looks like. Oh, Hug's not there anymore. No, not super secret. Just a regular exhibition,
Gotcha.
Brett. And then I'm going to watch the first 30 minutes of that game and then beam to Charlotte, North Carolina for FAU versus Charlotte tonight. FAU, a small favorite on the road.
Was told earlier today that Ole Miss played Houston in their super secret, lost by 4, and Kelvin Sampson told Chris Beard after the game, you got a tournament team. We'll keep a close eye on a lot tonight. The Grizzlies coming up in mere moments. Tomorrow night, the Grizzlies tonight at FedEx Forum, tomorrow night in the Swamp in D.C. against the Wizards, back at FedEx Forum on Monday night. Tigers, Mean Green, everything from top 25. Tennessee, Kentucky, Sunday in the NFL. 24 NBA games between now and the time we reassemble on Monday, and I think the best name in sports, the World Series.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great week and a little bit of everything going on. So enjoy all of the action. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here Monday afternoon. Talk then.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms.